In Douluo, all the goddesses collapse. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201, Proud Yanzi. When Wood Crossing regained consciousness, his vision became clear, and he found himself back in the room of Yuxuan where he lived before the mission. "Hubby, you're back." When Wood Crossing just came back, a fragrant breeze blew, and Suruaxi rushed over and hugged him tightly. It had been 10 days since her man went to the Linglang world. During these 10 days, although Wood Crossing had been updating his diary after the first day of live broadcast, he could not help but feel homesick. Du Guan, Yi Lingling, and Ling Yuan on the side, although they did not jump into Suruaxi's arms, had the same expression on their faces. They were worried that their men would be abducted by women from other worlds and were unwilling to come back. This is what every woman would think, because the big pervert in front of them had no immunity to beautiful women. In the Douluo world, they could still guard it, but in other worlds, before the diary system was upgraded, they could not do anything. "Well, I'm back." Wood Crossing also hugged Suruaxi and kissed her pretty face, then let go of her and looked at the women next to him. Seeing these women with longing on their faces, Wood Crossing opened his arms and smiled. "Wives, don't you hug each other to celebrate your husband's return?" "Bah, who wants to hug you?" Du Guyan said proudly. But just after she finished speaking, her good sister, Yi Lingling, smiled and hugged Wood Crossing. In an instant, Du Guyan's face turned black. Plastic sisters, she was slapped in the face just after she finished speaking. Sister Lingyuan. Du Guyan was so angry that she stomped her feet and looked at Lingyuan. Lingyuan glanced at Du Guyan and then, under her gaze, hugged Wood Crossing again. I. Du Guyan was so angry that she vomited blood. What about the sisters who agreed to be one, regardless of each other, and advance and retreat together? Why did they all betray as soon as their husband came back? Wood Crossing looked at Du Guyan's angry look, and he also smiled. He looked at Erao next to him and said, "Sister Erao, don't you want to hug me?" "I can't." Erao pursed her lips and smiled softly. She naturally understood that the other party was doing this to deliberately provoke Du Guyan. Okay. Wood Crossing did not force it. Anyway, as long as Erao stayed by his side for one day, she would be his sooner or later. There was no need to rush. Seeing that Wood Crossing, this bastard, did not ask her again after asking Erao, Du Guyan felt unbalanced again. She cursed the big bad guy in her heart for bullying her and not loving her at all. Thinking of this, she felt extremely wronged, and some crystals began to emerge in her eyes. Although Wood Crossing was trying to get close to Erao, he had always been paying attention to his own proud Yanzi. Seeing her aggrieved look, he quickly put his arm around her waist and hugged her in his arms. "Oh, my Yanzi seems to have lost weight these days. I can hug her with one hand." Wood Crossing joked with a smile. I'm not thin at all." Du Guyan, who was being cared for by her man, felt sweet in her heart. When she heard this, she subconsciously retorted, "Really, your waist wasn't this thin before." Wood Crossing said nonsense seriously. "Really?" Du Guyan looked down and measured it with her hand. She frowned. In her confusion, she saw her man smiling. She immediately realized that she was deceived. You bully me." Du Guyan's mouth shrank, and she said angrily, "Haha." Wood Crossing couldn't help laughing when he saw such a cute Yanzi. Du Guyan looked at Wood Crossing, who was laughing, and saw the girls next to him who were laughing continuously. She raised her little fist and punched the other person's chest. Okay, Yanzi, stop it." Wood Crossing quickly grabbed Du Guyan's lotus hand and said with a smile, "HMPH." Du Guyan snorted again arrogantly before retracting her posture of continuing to beat. After a lot of fuss, Ling Yuan separated from Du Guyan and looked at Wood Crossing and asked, "How did you feel after going to the Linglang world?" "Not bad. That world is different from our Douluo. It's quite novel." Wood Crossing nodded and replied, "What's wrong with that light bearer?" Ling Yuan asked again. On the first day, when they were watching the live broadcast, they saw how the light bearer behaved towards their man. but they were scared. This woman was obviously very wrong. Whether it was the way she looked at her man or her attitude towards her man, it was really too weird. What's going on? Wood Crossing asked knowingly. Sure enough, his woman didn't ask about Xing's situation or the reward after the task, but liked to ask some strange questions. Hearing this, Ling Yuan couldn't help but roll her eyes and said, "Why is she so respectful to you? Logically speaking, even if the little man is the owner of the diary and the other party is the holder of the diary, they shouldn't put themselves so low. What's more, in front of so many women, with such an attitude, even kneeling on the ground, to serve her little man." Although Suruoxi and the other girls didn't say anything, they all looked at Wood Crossing curiously. They also wanted to know the reason. Seeing the curious eyes, Wood Crossing said with shame, "This is because she lives in the end of the world, and she has been influenced by faith since childhood, which leads to special superstition. She regards me as a god, and serves me as the master. It's just like in the Douluo world, many people believe in the sea god, the angel god, and the Azura god, but her influence is greater." Just like that? Ling Yuan said suspiciously. "Of course, what else can it be? This is my first time to go to the Linglang world. Well, I didn't use the experience card before." Wood Crossing rolled his eyelids. "Didn't something happen between you?" Ling Yuan asked playfully. Ahem. Wood Crossing coughed several times after hearing this. How could it be possible that nothing happened? The little maid cooperated with him no matter what, and even took the initiative to create for him. Seeing Wood Crossing did not answer, Ling Yuan said unhappily, "I knew you couldn't control it." Wood Crossing did not answer, which was considered as tacit agreement with the other party. Of course, Ling Yuan was just talking, and she didn't really mean to blame him. After all, as a man, there were many women who wanted to know his body. "Did anything happen to Douluo during my 10 days away?" Wood Crossing asked after a while. "No." Ling Yuan shook her head, and then said, "During these 10 days, many people from various forces came to visit you in Yuxin, but I rejected them all." "Yeah." Wood Crossing nodded. The spirit ring and spirit power he showed in the All Continent Advanced Spirit Master Academy competition were enough to drive those forces crazy. "Where is Tang Heo? Has he not appeared?" Wood Crossing asked again. "No, this person seems to have disappeared, and even the spirit hall has not collected any news about him." Ling Yuan shook her head. To be honest, she also felt strange. How could the other party just evaporate like a human being, and not even avenge his son, which made her worried for so long. Chapter 202, Taking Stock Again. On the second day, after returning to Douluo, Wood Crossing got up at noon. Yesterday, he turned over Du Guyan's card. He didn't know what was going on. Last night, this girl was particularly crazy, as if she would not stop until she squeezed him dry. But the result is predictable. They were not opponents in the first place, not to mention that Wood Crossing has now reached the level of Soul Saint. Now, she is still lying beside him, sleeping, but the happiness revealed in her tired expression is obviously very satisfied. Looking at her beautiful sleeping face, Wood Crossing gently lowered his head and kissed her forehead. He was about to take away the white arms around his waist and prepare to get up, but found that he was still hugged tightly. As if she noticed the movement, Du Guyan's arms tightened, and her pretty face moved closer to Wood Crossing's arms, muttering, "Husband, Yan can't do it anymore. Please forgive me, I will never be stubborn again." I don't know what kind of torture Du Guyan went through last night. Even in her sleep, she was begging Wood Crossing for mercy. Hearing Du Guyan's coquettish dream talk, Wood Crossing couldn't help but laugh. Seeing that she was hugging him so tightly, he didn't rush to get up. He simply opened the diary panel and started today's update. Yesterday, when he returned to Douluo World, he had been accompanying his woman and had not yet told all the pen pals that he was back. Good afternoon, all pen pals. I have now returned to Douluo Continent from Linglang World. With Wood Crossing's update reminder, all the diary holders also opened the diary copy to read, especially the light bearer and Fixu from Linglang World, who couldn't wait to open it at the first time. Yesterday, Wood Crossing left and returned in their dreams. Both women understood that he didn't want to cause sadness when they parted. Now seeing the other party in the diary returning to Douluo Continent safely, they all breathed a sigh of relief, but they began to miss them a little. Because they didn't know when Wu Crossing would come to Linglang World again, nor did they know when the diary system would be upgraded next time, and they didn't know whether the team mission would be opened after the upgrade. This time, the mission to Linglang World was generally completed successfully, but the reward was a bit lame. They said they would give 3000 points, and it really was 3000 points, without any extra benefits. When Wu Crossing complained that there was only a 3000 point reward, all the diary holders were speechless. This guy, is he not satisfied with 3000 points? What else does he want? You know, the points system has been open for 12 days, and many of them don't even know what points are, and only a few people have a mere 100 points. Those who are luckier only get 300 points, and you have 10 times more. And there is a system task every month, and they don't even have a task. Who can they go to for justice? The diary holders of Douluo World twitched their foreheads when they saw Wu Crossing complaining about 3000 points. 3000 points are enough to buy 3 100,000 year perfect spirit rings or 1 million year perfect spirit ring in the mall. You just went to the Linglang World and spent 10 days, which is equivalent to getting a million year spirit ring. Such a heaven-defying reward, and you still think it's not good. Even for title Douluo, few people have 100,000 year soul ring. Even if they want to get one, they have to spend a lot of time and energy, and they have to seek companions, and make sufficient preparations, before they can kill 100,000 year soul beast. In the end, they may not succeed. This bastard is so good, he doesn't know how lucky he is. It's true that people are so annoying. Wu Crossing didn't know what many diary holders thought. The reason why he was not satisfied was mainly because he needed to support his family, and 3000 points were not enough to spend. Now he only has 1 million year perfect soul ring and 200,000 year perfect soul rings. As long as his women break through to Soul King, they will have enough. And with 100,000 year perfect soul ring as a foundation, it's impossible for him to absorb a 10,000 year soul ring after being promoted to Soul Emperor, right? After complaining about the stinginess of the system, let's get back to the topic. Anyway, there is nothing to do today. Why don't we talk about the pen pal worlds of the Golden Legend? Seeing the new words appearing on the subtitles, many diary holders were shocked and sat up straight. It was not easy, very difficult. They had waited for more than half a year. After counting the identities of the diary holders of the first 5 golden legends last time, the other party seemed to have forgotten it. Now it has finally been opened again. Of course, it was not that Wu Crossing forgot, but that he counted it very quickly, and considering that there were duplicate worlds that obtained golden legends, if he counted it every few days, there would not be enough worlds to make up the number in a few days, so there was such a long time. Wait for me to flip through it first and see what other worlds I want to talk about after counting the pen pals of the Ruthless Emperor last time. Okay, I found it. Next, we will talk about the 6th holder of the Golden Legend, Tsunade from the world of Naruto. The world of Naruto is actually similar to the world of Douluo, but the training system is different. If you say that the world of Douluo revolves around soul power, the use of which is called martial soul, the world of Naruto revolves around chakra, and the release of which is called ninjutsu. Tsunade, she is an important supporting role in the world of Naruto, and she plays a decisive role throughout the whole play. Before talking about her identity, let's talk about the general distribution of the Naruto world. The Naruto world is a very interesting world. The strength of the country is not strong, but the village, where the country is located, is the real peak combat power. In the Naruto world, there are 5 major countries, and there are 5 major villages in the 5 major countries. They are Konoha village in the fire country, Sand village in the wind country, Mist village in the water country, Cloud village in the lightning country, and Rock village in the earth country. Of course, in addition to this, there are some large and small countries and some relatively weak villages. I won't go into details here. Each village has a shadow, which represents the highest decision maker of the village, and is governed separately from the country to which it belongs. And Tsunade is from the Senju clan of Konoha village in the fire country, and is also the 5th generation Hokage. As Wu Crossing began to count the 6th golden legend holder in the Naruto world, Tsunade, who was still in a certain wine shop, drinking wine, suddenly woke up from her dazed look. Me. The fifth Hokage? Are you kidding me? Tsunade was completely stunned when she saw the owner of the diary said that he was the fifth Hokage. She hadn't been back to Konoha village for many years and didn't plan to go back, but she didn't expect Wood Crossing to reveal that she would become the fifth Hokage. But according to her long-term understanding of the diary copy, Wood Crossing would definitely not make it up for no reason, so the most reasonable explanation is that something happened in Konoha village. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203 The Jealous Women. Tsunade-sama, what's wrong with you? Shizune, who was holding a pink pig in her arms, couldn't help but ask hurriedly when she saw Tsunade's change. She was very surprised. Tsunade-sama was planning to go to the casino, but she stopped at the entrance of the casino and went to the wine shop to drink. Such an unprecedented thing. Tsunade, who could come to the entrance of the casino without entering, was almost as if the sun had risen from the west. However, she didn't know that the reason why Tsunade came to the casino and resisted her gambling addiction was because she found that Wood Crossing had updated his diary. So, she went to the wine shop to drink instead. Nothing. Tsunade shook her head, drank another glass of wine, and continued to read the contents of the diary. To be able to become the decision maker of the village, her strength is not bad, and she is even called the three ninjas of Konoha by famous ninjas from other villages, but the most powerful is physical skills and medical ninjutsu. Her physical skills are very strong, which is also due to the precise control of chakra, which concentrates chakra on any part of the body and then bursts out a strong airflow, which can easily destroy hard objects. And the medical ninjutsu is even more outstanding. The self-created ninjutsu Yin-Seal can achieve the effect of keeping youth, improving body functions, and keeping body functions in full condition. Even if it is cut in half, it can be quickly healed. What the hell? Is this bastard cursing me? Seeing this, Tsunade's mouth twitched a few times. Although the other party praised her medical ninjutsu, she was unwilling to test it by cutting in half. But the other party actually said it. Could it be that this kind of thing will happen to her in the future? Some diary holders in the Naruto world took a deep breath when they saw that Tsunade-sama actually had such an excellent medical ninjutsu, which could achieve the effect of keeping youth and being cut in half, and could be quickly healed without dying. Perhaps for those diary owners who talked about the high-level world, the ruthless emperor who lived for life after life, etc., this is not worth surprising, but for them, it is very shocking. As expected of Tsunade-sama, one of the three ninjas of Konoha, medical ninjutsu has really reached the level of perfection. The level of her world is roughly the same as that of the Douluo world, and even if there is a difference, it will not be too big. Is it similar to the Douluo world? Tsunade's eyes flickered a few times, and she had a better understanding of her own world. She had watched Wood Crossing's live broadcast before, and according to the strength shown in the elite competition of the Advanced Soul Master Academy across the continent, it was indeed similar. After talking about Tsunade from the world of Naruto, the next is Jingwei from the world of Kinsmoon. Jingwei is similar to the world of Youth Song, both are martial arts worlds. Like Li Hanai of the Snow Moon Fairy Sword, she is also a master of swordsmanship. However, Jingwei is a killer who belongs to the Luoyang organization in their world. How to say her life, she is a tool used by the Luoyang high level to assassinate. In order to complete the tasks assigned by the organization, she is either on the road to killing, or on the road to killing, Pucci. Wood Crossing's words immediately caused a group of diary holders to laugh out loud. But after laughing, they began to sympathize with this pen pal. They didn't expect that the other party's whole life was actually used as a tool for killing by the top leaders. As a killer, and being trained by Luoyang since childhood, generally speaking, he cannot have personal feelings. In order to complete the mission, if the target of the assassination is powerful and has a high status, it is common to even feed the demon with his body. Hiss. Seeing that in order to complete the organization's mission, he would actually feed the demon with his body. What's the difference between this and a puppet? I don't know if she has changed the status quo after obtaining the copy of the diary. I hope she can live out her own life. Of course, if she wants, she can definitely resist the fate of the organization with a copy of the diary, but whether she can change the concepts she has received since childhood is another matter. As for Jinglui's strength, in the Luoyang organization, there are Xian Shidiju, Chimei Wangliang, and masters of all levels. Xian is the best and Liang is the lowest, and she is a first-class killer of Xianzi. Luoyang is also the largest killer organization in the Qinshi world. You can imagine how powerful her strength is in her world. Because she is an orphan, she has no name. The sword in her hand is a very famous sword in her world, called Jinglui sword, so her code name is also Jinglui. She wears a slim metal combat suit with purple and white stripes all year round, with fish scale armor on her legs and right arm, and a pair of white socks on her feet. The fish-shaped pattern on the chest armor sets off the style of the Jinglui sword. Cough cough. It seems a bit biased. In short, she looks absolutely beautiful, born with a beautiful appearance, stunning the whole country, with skin as white as jade, better than peach blossoms, white and rosy, and crystal clear, just like the bright moon in the sky. Fuck. Seeing the description of Tsunade in the copy, she couldn't help but cursed the national quintessence of Wuxing's previous life. The strange power couldn't be controlled and slammed on the table. In an instant, the table was torn into pieces, and the owner of the wine shop was frightened. It was also frightened that Jingyan subconsciously hugged her hands tightly, causing the little pink pig in her arms to groan and scream. She didn't know why Tsunade suddenly got angry. The reason why Tsunade got angry and angrily shouted out the national quintessence that the owner of the diary often talked about was entirely because this bastard treated her differently. When describing herself, he didn't mention her appearance except for physical skills and medical ninjutsu. But this Jinglui was described in so many ways. Did she look so bad? She couldn't even catch the other person's eyes? This bastard. If you come to my world to do a mission, I will smother you to death. After being angry, Tsunade looked down at her huge panda and said with gritted teeth, Wu Crossing could never have imagined that Tsunade in the Naruto world wanted to smother herself to death with her huge panda. The reason why he emphasized Jinglui's appearance was mainly because in his previous life, he only talked about appearance, and among the several anime goddesses who most met his aesthetic standards, she was one of them. Not to mention that Tsunade was unbalanced. All the women in the Douluo world couldn't sit still. What a pervert. In the dormitory of Shrek Academy, Ningrangrang saw Wu Crossing actually praising a woman so much, her lips pouted high, and she was filled with jealousy. Su Ruoxi, Yi Lingling, Ling Yun, and even Zhao Wu were all jealous when they saw Wu Crossing talking about the appearance of the diary holder named Jinglui. They had never received such praise from their men before, and they must meet that woman in the future to see what she looked like, and how she could fascinate their men so much that she would introduce her appearance in a grand manner in the diary copy. Dao Dao didn't think so much. She put herself in a very low position and regarded herself as Wu Crossing's lover, a lover that belonged exclusively to him. Chapter 204 The End of the Martial Arts World. The World of Qin's Moon. In a cave in a dark forest, the sky is gloomy, and it is raining outside. A woman wearing a mask, fish scale metal armor, a mask on her head, and her slender legs wrapped in fishnet stockings is leaning against the entrance of the cave and quietly looking at the copy of the diary in her hand. She is Jinglui, the owner of the first generation of Jinglui sword, known as the Giant Salamander. Looking at the owner of the diary, who praised her beauty without hesitation, her eyes, which were originally as calm as a pool of stagnant water, flickered slightly. As the top female assassin of Luoyang, she has been trained as a killer since she was a child. As Wu Crossing said, she cannot have personal feelings and can only obey the orders of the organization. But a year ago, after accidentally getting the diary copy, she gradually changed her cold heart after a long period of understanding. As long as people are exposed to the outside world more, know more things, and see more things, they will always change, and Jinglui is no exception. She was tired of the life of an assassin, and didn't want to be a killing machine without emotions. She wanted to end her life as an assassin. Just like a robot that had awakened its consciousness, She wanted to get rid of the fate of being controlled, so she finally made a decision to change her future. Not long ago, she received the task of assassinating Wen Wuji assigned by the organization, but she did not carry it out. Instead, she chose to take the opportunity to leave the Luoyang organization. Now seeing the owner of the diary talking about her, she was more certain of this idea. Although leaving the Luoyang organization would encounter the organization's encirclement and suppression, with her current strength, even if all the first-class assassins in Luoyang came, she could handle it. As if to fulfill this result, a burst of dada footsteps suddenly came in the sound of the pattering rain. Hearing the sound from the woods outside, Jingwei couldn't help but close the copy of the diary in her hand and put it back into her mind. Her graceful and slender body slowly stood up. Then she picked up the Jingwei sword beside her and looked outside the cave with cold eyes. In a moment, dozens of Luoyang assassins appeared in front of her. Jingwei, you dare to betray the organization. Do you know what the consequences will be? Even if you escape to the ends of the earth, you will be surrounded by the organization, said the leading man coldly. Jingwei did not answer, but gently raised the sword in his hand, and the momentum on his body burst out at this moment. The man was also a first-class killer of Luoyang, and the 10 subordinates around him were also Earth-level killers. He originally thought that it would be a very easy task to capture Jingwei and bring him back. However, the next second, he felt the murderous intention that the other party accidentally revealed, which hit the depths of his soul. You. The man felt this terrifying breath, and his whole body trembled. The pressure was even greater than when he faced Lord Henny Beizu and Jian. However, just when he was shocked at how the other party had changed so much, Jingwei had already made a move. The scabbard came out, and the sharp sword light flashed. But he found that the other party was already behind him. The man wanted to look back, but he saw his body with his head separated. How could it be? The man never understood until his death why Jingwei was so fast, and why his strength became so exaggerated. The scene in front of them made the Earth-level killers dumbfounded. When they came to their senses, they scattered and fled out of the woods desperately. Lord Yanri was killed by Jingwei with one sword. Of course, this was not the most surprising thing. The surprising thing was that they could not even see the movements clearly, and saw the other party appear behind Lord Yanri, and then his body was separated. They were killers. Although they had no emotions, and obeyed the orders of the organization, they were not fools. In the current situation, it was obvious that Jingwei's strength was completely beyond their scope. Wouldn't they run away and wait to be killed? Facing the Earth-level killers who were fleeing in all directions, Jingwei did not chase them, but watched them lightly. She wanted to use this incident to make the high-level officials in the Luoyang organization afraid and give up the idea of catching her back. Although she knew Luoyang well and might not give up easily, it would not be just like this next time. I don't know if Luoyang can accept the loss. After the killers completely escaped, Jingwei held up the oil umbrella, looked at a certain direction, and then slowly walked towards it. The sound of the rain left only the other person's pretty back. At the same time, Wood Crossing continued to write, unaware of what happened in the Kinsmoon world. The world level of Kinsmoon is similar to that of the world of Sheonanje Crossing. Basically, it can be said that the strength of the martial arts world is similar. If we go up, it is the world of immortals. The next person we are going to discuss is the pen pal from the world of immortals, Luzuki from the world of Zhuzan. The biggest essential difference between martial arts and immortals lies in the cultivation system. The cultivation system of martial arts is martial arts, while the cultivation system of immortals is magic power. The second is the worldview. The worldview of martial arts mainly focuses on the entire martial arts world, while the worldview of immortals is no longer the entire martial arts world, but begins to involve the entire world, and can borrow the power of heaven and earth for their own use. The Zhuzan world where Luzuki's pen pal is located, is the most obvious extension of the martial arts world. They can already fly with swords, borrow the spiritual energy between heaven and earth for their own use, and at the same time, can mobilize the natural power between heaven and earth. For example, the divine sword and thunder control secrets she practiced, can attract thunder between heaven and earth and turn them into a means of attacking the enemy. Therefore, in my previous life, there was a saying that the end of the martial arts world is the beginning of the fairy world. The end of the martial arts world is the beginning of the fairy world. Seeing the diary owner say that the fairy world is above the martial arts world, a group of diary holders from the martial arts world murmured. It turns out that those land immortals, those masters who hide in the world, pursue the ultimate martial arts, which is only the most basic thing in the fairy world. It turns out that, if they go one step further in their world, they can mobilize the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, fly with swords, and mobilize the power of heaven and earth for their own use. Thinking of this, many diary holders began to yearn for the fairy world. Maybe they can use the opportunity of the diary copy to move to a higher level. Luzuki is the heroine of the Zhujian world. Well, it's rare. There are so many golden legends, and finally a heroine appears. She is a disciple of Xiao Feng of the Qinggan sect, a major righteous sect in the Zhuxian world. She is also the leader of the new generation of disciples of the Qinggan sect, and naturally one of the most outstanding young disciples of the same sect. The Teikaizu and Qingdao she practices is a technique that was developed by the Qinggan sect's successive masters. All the sect leaders, chiefs, and disciples learn this technique. As for why I specifically say that the Qinggan sect is a major righteous sect, it is because the opposition between good and evil in their world is particularly obvious. Chapter 205 The Woman Who Was Scared Half to Death. Liu Fei, the struggle between good and evil has never stopped from the beginning to the end. Even the son of destiny in this world has fallen into the devil's way. It can be said that the whole story revolves around the level of the opposition between good and evil. But the most ridiculous thing is that some people who claim to be from the righteous sect do things that are shameful, while some people from the evil ways seem to be open and above board. In short, what is the righteous way and what is the evil way? I believe everyone has a standard in their hearts. I won't read too much. Wood Crossing's words have aroused the feelings of many diary holders. Indeed, some people from famous and upright sects oppress others under the banner of justice, while those demons who are verbally criticized by the upright people are doing justice. It is very ironic. Those hypocrites and those hypocritical villains are the ones who really make people feel disgusted. Just like Tang San, the protagonist of Douluo World, I can hit you in the face, but you can't hit me in the face. I kill soul beasts for justice, and others are evil. Yu Xiaogang is also like this. He keeps saying that he does it for the growth of his children, but once he can't bring him fame and fortune, he can abandon them at will. Such double-standard people, such hypocritical guys, are more shameful than those demons. Although Zhuxian is a plane with relatively low overall strength in the Xianxia world, it has made a qualitative leap compared to the martial arts world, so the level is higher than the former, and has entered the second level. After talking about the Zhuxian world, let's talk about the next golden legend holder, Liu Fei from the world of battle through the heavens. To be honest, when I heard Ling Ling say that the 9th person was this pen pal, I really didn't expect it. I never expected that she would have a copy of the diary and even get the golden legend. Seeing Wood Crossing's surprised tone, a group of diary holders suddenly became interested. I don't know why the diary owner is so unpopular with this woman in front of him, which makes him doubt his life. When Liu Fei in Upper World saw that the owner of the diary was going to talk about her, she was a little happy in her heart, but when she saw the description in front of her, she couldn't help but feel a little nervous, and a bad idea came to her mind. Sure enough, the owner of the diary would rather not say more about her. What can I say about this pen pal? She is a minor character in Upper World, not even a supporting role. Besides, I don't have a very good impression of her. I admit that she is very beautiful, like a vixen, but she is a tea-like person tea-like. When everyone saw this new word, they all subconsciously clicked on its annotation. After learning its meaning, they all showed strange expressions on their faces. It turns out that tea-like refers to this woman who looks pitiful on the surface, but is actually very scheming. She likes to pretend to be pitiful in front of people to gain sympathy, but she is scheming behind the scenes. Unexpectedly, Wood Crossing had previously emphasized the praise of Jingwei, but now there came a diary holder that he didn't like. After seeing this annotation, Liu Fei's charming face began to turn pale. She knew herself well. Thinking back to what she had done before, it was not exactly the same as what the other party said, but it was completely the same. This disgraceful scene of hers was exposed by the owner of the diary, which made her feel extremely embarrassed. At the same time, some diary holders, after seeing Wu Crossing expose Liu Fen's character, began to worry about themselves. For example, Xian Mi in the Kin world, she also planned that, if the other party came to her world to do a task, she would try every means to seduce him to bed and become his woman, so as to achieve the goal of flying up the tree and becoming a phoenix. But now that she saw that the owner of the diary had a bad feeling about women like her heart was instantly cold. No, I have to change myself and can't become a woman that the other party hates. Xian Mi, who was unwilling, didn't want to miss such an opportunity to turn over. In the content of the diary that lasted for a year, her horizons were no longer limited to the position of the head of the farmer's family, but the world of the heavens. Even if she can't become the other person's woman, she can become his lover. With her understanding of men, Wu Crossing will treat her sincerely, even if she becomes his lover. Fortunately, she didn't get the golden legend, so she doesn't have to worry about her affairs being exposed by the other party. In the future, she will change her image in front of the diary owner and make up for it. I believe that the other party will not reveal her past. Liu Fen's current thoughts are similar to Xian Mi's. In the future, she must make some changes in order to get the other party's care. If Wu Crossing knew what these women were thinking, he would definitely be dismissive. Want to be his lover? What a joke. Even if she really made changes for him and was no longer hypocritical, at most she would be rewarded with the status of an ex-slave. Anyway, there are maids, and it's not impossible to have tools to vent desires. Here I can only say that the system's 3 views also follow the 5 senses. It's okay to distribute diary copies to any woman, but also give golden legend rewards, which is really speechless. I'm a person who speaks directly and straightforwardly. I say what I want to say. Since we are pen pals now, I hope that you can change your temper after reading this. I will not say more. Now let's talk about the Dupo world. This world cultivates Dao Qi, and the levels are divided into Daos, Daoshi, Daodaoshi, Daoling, Daowang, Daohuang, Daozang, Daozan, Daosheng, and Daodi. This Liu Fen pen pal was a Daodaoshi when he appeared, but you should not underestimate this realm. The level of this world is not low. Although it is not as exaggerated as the perfect world in the world of covering the sky, it can completely crush the Douluo world. Seeing that Wu Crossing no longer exposed more of her own black material, but started to talk about her world level, Liu Fen's pale face finally regained some color. She was really worried that the other party would not let go, and at that time she would really feel like she would die in the world and even encounter a murderous hand. But she knew that she was not the only one who held the diary in the Dupo world. In the past year, 3 golden legends appeared in their world. Besides her, there is a woman named Yafei, and the queen of the snake people Medusa who she has heard of. Therefore, it is hard not to let her think too much whether these 2 will do something unfavorable to her in order to please the owner of the diary. And this is just the woman of the golden legend. Who knows if there are more hidden diary holders who have not appeared? If because of this matter, there is a woman she can't afford to offend, and then she will be unable to move forward in this world. Not to mention, there is really someone who thinks so. She is also a student of Canon College, Ziyan. Xian Mi. In order to satisfy all the old perverts, the picture is reviewed. Chapter 206 Married Woman Lover. In addition, Douluo Continent, like Douluo Continent and most of the fantasy world, has legends of the upper realm. On Douluo Continent, for some reason, the Daodi, who originally represented the highest realm, disappeared overnight in ancient times, so that not many people know about it like in Douluo world. Due to the disappearance of the Daodi, this also caused the world to lack the origin of the emperor, so no matter how hard the cultivators tried, they could not reach the realm of the Daodi. Until the appearance of Tuo's ancient emperor, he used the origin of the earth energy and the emperor grade embryo pill left in the Daodi cave in the void space to successfully break through to the Daodi realm, which opened the prelude for the major forces to compete for the Tuo's ancient emperor jade fragment left by the last Daodi. Of course, in this world, the most eye-catching thing is the strange fire. They are all creatures born between heaven and earth, with spiritual intelligence, and Tuo's ancient emperor's body is a strange fire. As Wood Crossing began to introduce Douluo Continent, all the diary holders in Douluo world were shocked by this shocking secret. Even Guzuna, the daughter of the ancient clan, was no exception. She also followed the family's arrangement, and entered the Zhao family, to look for the fragments of Tuo's ancient emperor Jade. As for the other diary holders, the shock was even more unparalleled. They didn't expect that there was such a secret in their own world, let alone the upper realm. Even Daodi, no, Daos and Dao Sheng are out of reach. Only Yahuo has heard more. If this world is considered the upper realm, the level has reached about level 7. Level 7. Bibi Dong was dumbfounded. Why is the gap between planes so huge? Douluo is only a little more than level 2 in the god realm. Look at Douluo Continent, it has reached level 7. She felt that as the Pope of Wuhan Hall, her face was a little bit lost. There were many people who had the same idea. The level of their own world was so low that even gods could be severely injured by hidden weapons, and they were embarrassed. Some women who are more indifferent are quite open-minded. What's wrong with a low level? Isn't the owner of the diary in their world? After talking about the Dupo world, today we will talk about the 10th golden legend holder, who is also the last one in today's inventory, Vinin Apollonius from the world of Swallowed Star. I think you have read so many diaries, and you probably know what kind of world this is from the name, right? Yes, this world is also a technological world, but it is a little different from the technological world. It is science fiction plus cultivation. It starts with the same story as the linkage world. It mainly tells the story of the mutation of various species after the Earth experienced a great disaster, and the survival of the fittest. The difference is that the humans in this world finally succeeded in this disaster and the extreme living environment, and did not become the end of the world like the linkage. Human physical fitness is also gradually improving and developing, and the spirit of martial arts is rising. Their physical fitness has made a qualitative leap compared to before, and the best among them are called warriors. Vinin Apollonius is a warrior, and also the executive president of the Chinese region of the Earth Hour Alliance. She is the most important female, villain in the Earth chapter. I'm a villain. In the Devouring Stars world Earth, Vinin Apollonius looked at the information in the diary copy and became sick. She was actually a villain, you know, through the content updated by the diary owner. She knew that the villain was the stepping stone for the protagonist and the tool, to be tempered by the son of luck. At least give me a female supporting role, or at least a small role. Giving me the title of villain would be like asking for her death. With the title of villain, how good can the ending be? Earth, I have said many times that you are the anim in my previous life, so many worldviews are derived around this framework. In this world Earth chapter, the warrior levels are divided into warrior level, general level and god of war level, and each level is further divided into beginner, intermediate and advanced levels. In the Earth chapter, the strength gap here is not particularly obvious. Vinin Apollonius Penpal is a high-level war god, who is already one of the top ranks on Earth, and his status is also very noble. It's just that, because he is a villain, he got his lunchbox early in the end. Vinin Apollonius was thinking about the consequences of having the title of villain. Before she could react, she saw the latest line of words from the diary owner, and her mouth twitched a few times. Ahem, Vinina, I didn't mean to curse you. The original book is indeed like this. You got your lunchbox early. The women in the Shanzangman, watching Wood Crossing open the other party's scars again, were also laughing and crying. People are probably panicking now, and you keep saying it again and again. Don't you want her to be in a panic all the time? If you want to avoid repeating the same mistakes, you'd better pay more attention to your son, otherwise it will be a matter of time even with my reminder. Question mark question mark question mark. When this line of words came out, the eyes of all the diary holders widened, and their eyeballs seemed to bulge out. Especially the women in the Douluo world. It was even more unbelievable. What the hell? This golden legend holder has a son? This is really the 3 views follow the 5 senses, and everything is given a diary copy. Is this to make the diary owner a thief? But then I thought, it seems that there are such holders in their world. For example, Ayin, Bibi Dang, and Arao who followed Wood Crossing, all of them have bred offspring without exception. Fortunately, Douluo Yan was still asleep at this time, otherwise she would definitely be angry. This bastard likes old women, likes women who have given birth, otherwise how could the diary system produce so many young women and wives? The diary system itself represents the will of the diary owner. And then Apollonius, looking at the reminder of the diary owner, also woke up from her trance. It turned out that all this was caused by her son. It seems that he needs to be disciplined and not spoiled too much. Thinking of this, she immediately called one of her subordinates and asked him to bring her son over. She also knew that her son was arrogant, jealous of talents, and cruel. She didn't think much of it before, but now that it concerns her and her family's future, she can't let him continue to be arrogant. You may wonder why I mentioned the Earth chapter repeatedly, just because this world is not as simple as imagined. At the same time, you will never guess how high the level of this world is. The level of this world is not lower than that of the perfect world in the shrouding world. Chapter 207 Spaceship. Venina, not lower than the level of the heaven covering and perfect world. Seeing Wood Crossing talking about the level of the world of devouring the starry sky, everyone took a deep breath. Doesn't that mean that this world has also reached level 8, let alone them? Venina's eyes widened in disbelief. For a moment, in order to make sure that she was not dazzled, she rubbed her eyes, but it was indeed the case. How is it possible? Venina murmured. She, who always thought highly of herself, became unconfident at this moment. How could she not know what was going on Earth? She knew the strength of warriors very well. But now the owner of the diary actually said that her world level was not lower than the heaven covering and perfect world. What does that mean? She couldn't imagine it. You have to know that through the content of the diary written by Wood Crossing in the past year, and the division of world levels, level 3 can easily destroy the Earth and explode stars. Level 8 is not just a breath, not to mention the Earth. The Milky Way is gone. And there is such a terrifying strong man in her world. At this moment, Venina doubted her life, and felt how narrow-minded she was before. When Wood Crossing talked about the world level before, she always thought that her world was at most level 2, but she never thought that today would directly overturn her cognition. But after knowing this, she, who was born noble, ruthless, and did things according to her own preferences, and was known as a poisonous scorpion, began to panic. This world is so terrible. I thought that with her status and position, she could basically look down on everything, but now it seems ridiculous. There are many things outside the Earth that she doesn't know. There are strong people that she can't imagine at all, and there are unspeakable civilizations. From Wood Crossing's mention of the world level, and then thinking of the term Earth chapter, she realized that things are not that simple. Because she knows a lot, and knows what the concept of the level 8 world is, her whole head is now dizzy. The information shock brought by this is difficult for her to calm down, even if she is in a high position. There are too many things involved here. I won't explain too much. I will explain it in detail when I get to that world one day. In short, the Earth is just the beginning of this world. But the top strong people in this world can basically be said to be the ceiling of the plane's combat power. Let's talk about it here today and find time next time to count the golden legend winners in other worlds. After closing the diary panel, Wood Crossing looked at Douluo Yan beside him. Seeing that she had not woken up yet, he communicated with the system to receive the reward. Ding, it is detected that the host has updated a diary and a spaceship is rewarded. What? Spaceship? When Wood Crossing received the system reward, he was stunned at first, and when he came to his senses, his tone was a little higher. The main reason was that such a sudden reward was beyond his imagination. There could be a spaceship reward. Wood Crossing's reaction was a bit big, causing Douluo Yan, who was originally sleeping soundly beside him, to wake up slowly and open her still hazy eyes. But the next second, seeing the excited eyes of her man clearly, she was suddenly startled, and all sleepiness disappeared. Douluo Yan subconsciously thought that Wood Crossing had thought about it again, and she was so scared that she begged for mercy. Husband, I can't, Yan. Yanzi will help you with something else. After that, without waiting for the other party to answer, she got into the quilt directly. Wood Crossing didn't have time to stay still. What is this girl talking about? However, the next second, he couldn't help but gasp. watching the quilt rise and fall, as if bathed in warm sunshine. Wu Crossing reacted after a long time, and then he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The reason why his eyes lit up was not because he wanted to do something lewd to the other party, but because he was attracted by the spaceship in the diary warehouse. As a man who traveled from the 21st world, in addition to watching anime, he also likes to watch science fiction movies, and naturally he is also very interested in spaceships. And he likes the spaceship rewarded by the system even more, so this scene appeared. But Du Guyan didn't know, and misunderstood what her man meant. Of course, since he was misunderstood, Wu Crossing didn't intend to stop it, and let Nizzy use her eloquence. I don't know if it was because he was excited to see the spaceship and couldn't wait to take it out to sea, or for some other reason. This time he surrendered faster than usual. Even Du Guyan didn't expect it and almost choked. Hubby. When Du Guyan got out of the quilt, revealing her little head with a blush on her face, she couldn't help but speak in a delicate voice and looked at him pleadingly. She really couldn't stand it, fearing that her man was not satisfied yet. When Wu Crossing heard Du Guyan's delicate tone and saw her pitiful appearance, he almost had another impulse, but he finally restrained himself and said, "Ahem, Yanzi, get up quickly, your husband will take you to see the big baby." Big baby? Du Guyan was stunned, and then seemed to think of something, and her pleading eyes became extremely bright. "Hubby, did you get any reward?" Of course, she was very happy that her man got good things. "Yeah." Wu Crossing nodded with a smile, and then without waiting for the girl under him to say anything, he lifted the quilt and jumped off the bed, hugged her like a princess, and walked quickly into the bathroom. The two people who entered the bathroom did not do anything, but washed up seriously. After she was dressed, Du Guyan also changed into the sky blue scale armor short skirt and scale armor short tube high-heeled shoes that her man bought for her, and stood at the door, still looking a little unbelievable. Under normal circumstances, her man would never not take advantage of her. What reward did he get that made him so anxious? Wu Crossing did not say much, but opened the diary friend panel and contacted all the women in his family, including the 3 beauties of Shrek Academy and Douluo. After asking them to gather at the gate of Xiandao City, he took Du Guan's hand and left the room. "Husband, what are you doing?" After leaving the room, Su Ruoxi and Li Lingling came to meet them. They had gotten up a long time ago, and just after reading the content of today's diary, they received the message from their man, which made them a little surprised. Now looking at the smile on her man's face, she couldn't help but be curious. "Husband seems to have received some extraordinary reward, and he wants to take us to see it." Without waiting for Wu Crossing to answer, Du Guan took the lead in speaking. "Reward." Su Ruoxi and Yi Lingling's eyes lit up when they heard this. "But why can't the reward be taken out directly? Do we have to go out and see it?" At this time, Ling Yuan and A Rao also appeared in the corridor, and they looked at Wu Crossing with curiosity. Wu Crossing saw that everyone was already there, so he deliberately whetted the appetite of the girls, waved his hand and said, "Let's go out of Xiandao City." Chapter 208 Wunan. Brother Wu Crossing. Wu Crossing. When Wu Crossing brought several girls to the gate of Xiandao City, Xiao Wu, Rong Rong, Zhu King and Dao Dao were also waiting here. At this time, the girls were obviously dressed up. Xiao Wu wore a pink gauze skirt, bright silver liquid socks, and crystal high heels on her small jade feet. She still looked like a girl 5 years ahead of her. This is because she found that Brother Wu Crossing liked more mature girls, so she changed her image. Ning Rang Rang was still wearing a blue dress, but her legs were wrapped in white patterned stockings, matched with the brown high-heeled leather shoes, which was very pleasing to the eye. Although Zhu King did not change much, the black tight leather high heels were already full of charm. As for Dao Dao, she also changed into a beautiful white dress and stepped on the silver high heels that Wu Crossing bought for her. The shoes were faintly flashing with light fluorescence, as if she was a big star in her previous life, a famous female host walking on the red carpet. She originally thought that Wu Crossing wanted to date her and go out for a walk, so he asked her to go to the gate of Xiandao City. But when she got here, she found that in addition to him, there were a group of women following him. She was a little surprised and puzzled. Xiao Wu, Ning Rangrong, and Zhu Zuking were the same at first, but later they found that even Dao Dao and even her mother, Sister Ling Yuan, showed up, which was quite sudden. When Rao saw her daughter's dress, she was also slightly stunned for a moment, but soon she withdrew her thoughts and began to be curious about her benefactor's plan. Brother Wu Crossing, what are you asking us to do outside Xiandao City? The little witch Ning Rangrong was the first to ask out of curiosity. She didn't know that Wu Crossing asked them to gather at the city gate to show the women the system reward he had just received. Secret. Wu Crossing smiled mysteriously and then said, let's go out of the city first and find a more open place. Seeing that Wu Crossing was keeping it a secret again, not to mention Ning Rangrong and the others, even Ling Yuan and Su Ruoxi were more curious about the reward for their men. The group left Xiandao City and walked for half an hour before finally arriving at an open area with few people. This is it. Don't be too surprised later. Wu Crossing looked around and then smiled at the girls. Brother Wu Crossing, don't keep Rangrong in suspense. On the way, Ning Rangrong had already learned from Su Ruoxi that Wu Crossing had received a mysterious reward and that he was bringing them here to show them off. She couldn't hold back after hearing what she said. Not only Ning Rangrong, but Du Guyan also looked at Wu Crossing seriously. Seeing the expectant eyes of the girls, Wu Crossing grinned and said, just watch. As he finished speaking, a huge monster exuding a metallic aura appeared out of thin air in front of everyone. Looking at the huge metal spaceship that appeared out of thin air, the girls were shocked by the spaceship in front of them, even though they had prepared themselves mentally. This building made entirely of metal was completely beyond their understanding, and most importantly, it was suspended in mid-air. Looking at the whole picture of the spaceship, the total length is up to 1 kilometer, the width is about 200 meters, and the height is close to hundreds of meters. The visual impact brought by such a huge metal building can be imagined. Not to mention the girls who don't know what it is. Even Wu Crossing was stunned at the first sight. He knew that the spaceship would not be small, but after seeing it with his own eyes, the surging in his heart also trembled at this moment. Brother Wu Crossing, what is this? After a long time, Ning Rangrong, who came back to her senses, swallowed her throat and asked in shock. Although the girls didn't speak, they also looked at Wu Crossing with shocked eyes. Spaceship. Wu Crossing whispered. Spaceship. The girls almost bit off their tongues when they heard it. Spaceship. They had heard of it once. That is, when Wu Crossing came to the Linkang world, the place where he was, seemed to be the site of the interstellar spaceship. But it was already a dilapidated building, and it had crashed for a long time, and most of it was covered by wind and sand. How could it be as shocking as the brand new spaceship in front of them? Yes, let's go up and take a look. Wu Crossing nodded with a smile. He was a little impatient to go up and take a look. The women naturally nodded in agreement. They also wanted to see what the spaceship from the technological plane looked like. The spaceship produced by the system must be a fine product. As Wu Crossing came to the hatch, there was a screen flashing with signals on the side. As the band above surged, a pleasant female mechanical voice sounded. The owner of the spaceship has been detected. Do you want to open the hatch? Yes. Wu Crossing nodded without thinking. When Wu Crossing's voice fell, there was a click, and the hatch opened automatically, and then a virtual staircase appeared and extended towards Wu Crossing. Wu Crossing didn't think much, and took the women to step onto the stairs, and boarded the spaceship. When everyone entered the spaceship, the original stairs shrank, and the hatch slowly closed again. The interior of the spaceship was very bright. Even if the hatch was closed, the lights above were as bright as day, forming a sharp contrast with the dark environment of the interstellar spaceship ruins in the Linkang world. Just as the women were surprised by the lights in the corridor of the cabin door, a crisp footstep sounded, and then a graceful figure appeared from the other end of the corridor, and walked towards this side. When they saw that there was someone else inside the spaceship, the women were stunned, and then looked at Wu Crossing in confusion. But Wu Crossing was not surprised to see this figure appearing, just because he was different from the women, and he saw that the woman in front of him was not a real person. As he expected, the fact was the same. The woman walked in front of Wu Crossing and bowed respectfully and said, "Bionic Man Wu Nan, meet the master." Wu Nan. When Wu Crossing heard this pretty woman say this, his brows frowned slightly for a moment. However, the women on the side were puzzled when they heard the woman in front of them call herself a bionic man. Yes, master, I'm a bionic man created by the creator of the diary system. I was given the name Wunan, and I'm responsible for managing this spaceship. The bionic man Wunan replied respectfully. Creator of the diary system? When Wu Crossing heard this, a huge wave of shock suddenly rose in his heart. He also suspected how his diary system came about, why it chose him, bound him, and distributed copies to so many women in Zhutian Diary, but he never expected that today a clue finally appeared. The diary system did not appear for no reason, but there was actually a creator behind it. Haha, guess whose daughter the protagonist had created the diary system? Chapter 209, The Heaven-Defying Spaceship. This discovery made Wu Crossing become serious. Since the diary system was created, why did the other party choose him? As he had read many online novels in his previous life, he subconsciously thought of various possibilities. Was the life behind the diary system a conspiracy? Or was it for fun? Or something else? If it was a conspiracy, what was the other party's purpose? And if it was for fun, why did they just find someone to entertain themselves? Why did they choose him when there were so many people in the previous life? In short, after learning that the diary system did not appear for no reason, Wu Crossing could not help but think more. As if they had noticed the solemn look of their man, all the women came closer, and Suruoxi and Li Lingling held his hands tightly. They did not expect that the diary system was created, and how terrifying the life that created the diary system and could break the dimensional barrier must be. But no matter what, now they are one with their man. No matter whether the other party is a conspiracy or something else, they will advance and retreat together with Wu Crossing. Feeling the powerful comfort from his hands and the determined eyes of the women, Wu Crossing's heart could not help but warm up. When the bionic person Wunan on the side also noticed something was wrong, she smiled and said, Master, don't worry. The creator of the diary system has no ill will towards you. She is your daughter. What is she? Wu Crossing hurriedly asked when he heard Wunan's silence. However, Wunan did not answer. Her eyes began to flash a string of strange codes. Her whole body seemed to stop. After she recovered, she said, Sorry, Master, Wunan's authority is limited, and she cannot answer your question. But Master, please rest assured that the creator will not hurt you. When the time is right, she will appear in front of you. Seeing Wunan like this, and hearing her reply, Wu Crossing knew that it must be the creator behind the diary system who intervened. However, since the other party sent this signal to him through Wunan, it means that he has no ill will towards him, and there is no conspiracy. Otherwise, why would the other party, who can let him travel through the animation of the heavens, break the dimensional barrier, and even distribute copies to many world diary holders, need to make this explanation like him? After thinking this through, Wu Crossing, who was originally a little solemn, relaxed in his heart. Putting aside the thoughts in his mind, Wu Crossing said to Wunan, Wunan, is it okay for me to call you that? Master, you can call me whatever you want. Wunan smiled professionally. Well. Wu Crossing nodded, and then said, since you are in charge of managing this spaceship, take us for a good tour. Anyway, the creator of the diary will not harm him, and with his current ability, he can't imagine the other party at all, so he simply stopped trying to figure it out, and turned to the purpose of this time. It must be said that Wu Crossing is very open-minded, and knows how to enjoy life in time. Okay, Master. Wunan smiled sweetly, then stretched out her hand to invite everyone and said, Master, ladies, please follow Wunan. Ladies? Wu Crossing and the ladies were stunned when they heard Wunan's words. Especially Erao, her face unconsciously flushed. How did she become the wife of the benefactor? But she didn't have to think too much. Wunan had already taken the lead in leading the way. Seeing this, she had to keep up with the pace and follow behind the benefactor. The spaceship is very large, which can be seen from the outside, and the same is true inside. Wunan carefully introduced it to Wu Crossing and the other girls all the way. As for such a huge thing as a spaceship, the girls were very curious in their hearts. With the introduction of the other party, they all entered the courtyard like Liu Leo Leo, and they were dazzled. Wu Crossing was better. After all, before crossing, he was a person who had been bombarded with online information and had some understanding of the framework of the spaceship. But even so, he felt a huge shock at the luxury of the spaceship. It just surprised Wu Crossing a little. Why is this spaceship, like many facilities in the previous life, as if it was tailor-made for his enjoyment? For example, in the spaceship, there is an equipment room, a virtual gym, a swimming pool, an entertainment room, a movie theater, and even the top of the spaceship has a beautiful environment for people to entertain. In a word, it has everything that the Earth in the previous life has, and it also has what the Earth doesn't have. It is simply available. Doesn't this spaceship have an attack system? After touring most of the interior of the spaceship, Wu Crossing followed the other party to the command room. After listening to Wu Nan's introduction to the spaceship command room, he couldn't help but ask. In his cognition, to be called a spaceship, there must be some weapon systems, but he didn't hear the other party mention it. Master, this spaceship is a home version. It has no attack system, but it has a defense system. Wu Nan replied. Home version? Wu Crossing was stunned. There is such a classification for this spaceship? It really broadened his horizons. He was also thinking that, if this spaceship had a weapon system, it could still bring him some help. In case the mission was difficult one day, he could still solve the powerful enemy through the weapon system of the spaceship, but he didn't want the idea to be shattered as soon as it was born. But if there is no, then there is no. It's not bad to treat this spaceship as your own portable residence. How is its defense system? Thinking of this, Wu Crossing couldn't help but ask again. Master, the material used to make this spaceship is the original metal. Any powerful person in the world who wants to destroy it cannot do it. Wu Nan answered very confidently. In addition, the interior can also open absolute defense, which will not cause fluctuations in the spacecraft itself. At the same time, the spacecraft can hide itself. No matter whether it is the strong consciousness or the naked eye, it cannot detect its existence, so it can avoid being harassed. Listening to Wu Nan's explanation, Wu Crossing's mouth opened wide. No strong person in the 10,000 worlds can destroy it? So exaggerated. And the origin metal, what is this thing? Why does it feel similar to his awakened martial soul, the origin heart? But for Wu Nan to say it so firmly, it must be right. He is not surprised at all that the creator has such ability. After being shocked, Wu Crossing said for a long time, Wu Nan, take us to the rest area. The spacecraft is really too big. It took nearly 2 hours to visit all the areas. Okay, master. Wu Nan responded, and then took Wu Crossing and the girls to the rest area. When they arrived at the rest area, Wu Nan introduced him to the girls again. Master, this is the rest area. This is room 1, which belongs to you. There are hundreds of rooms left. If you are tired, you can choose one by yourself. Just enter your information. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210 Photos. Under Wu Nan's explanation, the women each chose their own room. After entering the information and completing the authentication, it would be their fixed residence when accompanying their men out. While the women were busy setting up the scene for their new rooms, Wu Crossing also opened room 1 and walked in. The room was very large, and the degree of luxury was more exaggerated than any mansion he had ever seen. The most important point was that the overall design of the room was based on the Earth design. Before he crossed over, the hall, the side hall, the study, the bedroom, the bathroom, all kinds of wall hangings, and all kinds of cabinets were dazzling, and Wu Crossing could hardly move his eyes away. If it were in the past, he would definitely not be like this. The reason for this was that he felt a familiar scene. Until he entered the bedroom, an electric current flashed in his mind, and he stared at the bedroom in a daze. Isn't this his home? Before he crossed over? This bedroom, the hall outside, and the layout of the side hall. No wonder he felt so familiar. As for why he didn't notice it at the first time, it was entirely because the luxurious panoramic view made him ignore the connection with his home and his previous life. What on earth is going on? The creator of the diary even designed his home and his previous life. Wu Crossing's heart, which had originally calmed down, could not help but speculate on the half sentence that Wunan had not finished just now. The creator of the diary is his daughter. What daughter? Woman. Girlfriend? Goddess? Female relative? Woman. Female. But soon, he shook his head again and again. There are too many words starting with the word female, but these seem to have nothing to do with him. Needless to say, women. How could he have such great power to make such a powerful person his woman, girlfriend? Although he had talked to many in his previous life, without exception, they could not be connected. As for goddesses, there was one, but she was his white moonlight during his school years, and he had never communicated with her at all, and he did not believe that she would be so bored that she would come up with a diary system to improve his strength and then pick up girls everywhere. Female relative, his own mother is unlikely. If she is really that powerful, how could there be no signs before graduating from college? Of course, there are many relatives, but the families closest to him all have their own children, and it is even more impossible for him to have a chance. These were the only ones he could connect to through Wunan's words, but he eliminated them one by one. As for his daughter, he had never thought about it. After all, he had only been in love in his previous life, and there were safety measures for doing things in that aspect. Just as Wu Crossing was thinking hard, he suddenly glanced at the table at the head of the bed in the bedroom. Looking at a photo frame above, there was a girl in the photo frame. He was shocked for a moment, and then walked over quickly. This is. Picking up the photo frame, and seeing the girl with a sweet smile in the photo, Wu Crossing was stunned. Doesn't the woman in the photo look about 70% similar to a goddess in a certain anime he had seen in anime? He can say for sure that she really looks like a goddess in anime, but the girl in the photo looks much younger, and he doesn't know if it's his illusion. When he saw the photo of this girl, he had a very intimate feeling, and even had a strange idea that she looked a bit like him. Just when Wu Crossing was wondering what the identity of this girl was, why there was a photo of this girl in the spaceship, and whether she was the creator of the diary mentioned by Wunan, he suddenly felt a movement from behind, and could not help but turn his head. Brother Wu Crossing. As soon as Wu Crossing turned around, he saw Ning Rangrong, the little witch, approaching him lightly. When her whereabouts were discovered, she quickly changed her cautious normal state, and quickly walked up to hug him. Why are you here? Wu Crossing looked at the little witch in front of him, and asked in confusion, have you decorated your room? Yeah. Ning Rangrong smiled sweetly, and then saw the photo in Wu Crossing's hand. After tilting her head, and looking at it for a while, Ning Rangrong asked curiously, Brother Wu Crossing, who is this? The girl in the photo was about the same age as her, but the temperament revealed on her face was much more noble than her. I don't know. Wu Crossing shook his head. I don't know. Ning Rangrong's little head was stunned. He didn't expect Wu Crossing to answer like this. He didn't even know who the girl in the photo was. I don't know. How could Brother Wu Crossing have a photo of the other party? I don't know. How could it appear in his hands? As if seeing Ning Rangrong's confusion, Wu Crossing explained, this photo was originally placed here. Ah. Ning Rangrong immediately widened her beautiful blue eyes, and looked at the girl in the photo carefully. After a long time, she said in surprise, she is not the creator of the diary, right? It's possible. Wu Crossing nodded, thinking that the probability is not small. His spaceship was a system reward, and the system reward actually included the photo of the girl in front of him. He didn't believe that it had nothing to do with the creator. Okay, don't think about it. Anyway, Wunan said that when the time is right, the creator will show up. Seeing Ning Rangrong staring at the photo carefully, Wu Crossing reached out and put the photo frame back on the table. At this time, he looked at Ning Rangrong, the little witch, again and said, why don't you take a rest and come to me? Ning Rangrong heard this and then remembered the purpose of her visit to Wu Crossing. A strange excitement flashed on her face and she said, Rangrong is looking for you because she misses Brother Wu Crossing. After saying that, she did not forget to throw a coquettish eye to Wu Crossing, then sat on the edge of the bed and raised her beautiful legs wrapped in white patterned stockings. Seeing Ning Rangrang's appearance, Wu Crossing took a deep breath. Does this little witch want to play so excitingly? Now there are people coming in from outside at any time, and even Wunan may appear. She dares to seduce herself. Isn't she afraid of being discovered? But he was also very tempted by such an exciting thing. There was no way. The little witch in front of him really understood men's minds too well. Looking at Wu Crossing with a hot look in his eyes, Ning Rangrang added more fuel to the fire. The beautiful legs wrapped in white silk patterns rubbed against each other, and the brown high-heeled leather shoes fell off in response, and then the pair of small and exquisite jade feet were exposed and stretched out in front of him under Wu Crossing's gaze. Fuck. This little witch. Wu Crossing was so excited at this moment that he didn't care about people coming in at any time or being discovered. Since this little witch liked excitement, he didn't worry about it anyway. He immediately grabbed her outstretched jade feet and started playing with them. Feeling the warmth from her jade feet, Ning Rangrang's face flashed a blush, but when she saw Wu Crossing's intoxicated eyes, she felt a little proud in her heart. Chapter 211 Rangrang, why are you kneeling on the ground? Brother Wu Crossing, why don't you want me? Is it because Rangrang didn't do well enough, or do you not like Rangrang? Ning Rangrang looked at Wu Crossing with tears in her eyes, her expression full of small grievances. Although the relationship between the two is very good, even beyond what ordinary lovers can do, and the other party has personally admitted that she is his woman, it is hard not to feel disappointed or overthink every time they are intimate without taking the last step. Therefore, when she saw Wu Crossing again, that he had no intention of taking her, she couldn't help but express her frustration. Wu Crossing was stunned when he heard this, and then he gently flicked her forehead and said unhappily, "What nonsense are you talking about? How could I not want you? The reason why I didn't eat you is because you are too young now." Ning Rangrang is only 14 years old now, and he received 9 years of compulsory education in his previous life, and he has only been traveling through the Douluo world for more than a year. How can his thoughts change so quickly? If it was Su Ruoxi, Du Guyan, Yi Lingling, these girls who were already 18 years old in their previous lives, do you think he would be indifferent? She has already been eaten up. But you want Zhao Wu. Ning Rangrang pouted. She is different. Wu Crossing smiled bitterly, but in order to prevent the little witch from thinking too much, he explained, she is not a human, but a soul beast. Her real age is older than Ruoxi and the others. If you reach Lingling's current age, I will definitely take you. That won't take several years. Ning Rangrang's pouting mouth suddenly deflated when she heard it. Yeah. Wu Crossing smiled and nodded. But Rangrang doesn't want to wait so long. Brother Wu Crossing, you should take Rangrang now. Ning Rangrang stretched out her hands and hugged Wu Crossing's arm and started to act like a spoiled child. No. Wu Crossing said righteously. He could agree to anything, but he couldn't agree to this. This was his bottom line. Looking at Wu Crossing's resolute decision, Ning Rangrang put on a pitiful look again. Okay, don't pretend. If you say no, then it's no. Wu Crossing said with a stronger tone, and then he comforted her. Rangrang, I'm doing this for your own good, and do you think I don't want to eat you? Brother is more uncomfortable than you. Okay, you are my favorite little witch. What Wu Crossing said was true. In that aspect, no one can play better than Ning Rangrang, and no one knows how to stimulate a man better than her, making him completely unable to stop and unable to extricate himself. Really? Ning Rangrang, who was originally a little disappointed, heard Brother Wu Crossing say that she was her favorite little witch, and her eyes suddenly lit up. Of course. Wu Crossing nodded heavily and said affirmatively, you little witch is really in line with brother's appetite. Ning Rangrang was so happy to hear that, and the pair of jade feet wrapped in white patterned stockings began to move in front of Wu Crossing again. Hiss, you little witch are coming again. Wu Crossing took a breath of cold air. Ning Rangrang's mouth curled up slightly, and her delicate jade feet gently brushed under Wu Crossing's abdomen, and she said provocatively, if you have the ability, just eat Rangrang. Fuck. Wu Crossing's eyes were full of anger. This little witch was nakedly provoking him. She determined that he didn't dare to eat her, so she started to fight back. Wu Crossing's tiger body trembled, and he said viciously, "Don't beg for mercy later." After that, he turned Ning Rangrang off the bed and knelt in front of him. When he was ready to let her pay the price for provoking her little mouth, suddenly a sound of footsteps came from outside the bedroom, followed by a pleasant voice. "Brother Wu Crossing." The person who came was Xiao Wu. She had also decorated her room at this time, so she came to see Brother Wu Crossing. But when she came to Wu Crossing's bedroom, she saw a strange scene. "Rangrang, why are you kneeling on the ground?" Xiao Wu frowned, looking at Rangrang kneeling in front of Wu Crossing, and asked in confusion. Ning Rangrang's pretty face flushed when she heard Xiao Wu's question. She stood up quickly and said angrily, "My legs are weak." She liked to play exciting games with Brother Wu Crossing, and she also liked Brother Wu Crossing's obsession with her, and even rude treatment of her, but she didn't want to be seen by other people, let alone Xiao Wu, so she hurriedly found a lame excuse. Weak legs. Xiao Wu's mind flashed with countless question marks, and she was very confused. Then she asked suspiciously, "Brother Wu Crossing, you are not bullying Rangrang, are you?" Xiao Wu was still very innocent, and she didn't know that couples could play so much, but based on her understanding of Rangrang, seeing the other party's current appearance, it was obvious that he was talking without thinking. "Yes," Wu Crossing admitted generously, and then said, "Rangrang provoked your brother Wu Crossing just now, so I punished her to kneel down and prepare to spank her, and then you came." Xiao Wu opened her mouth wide when she heard this answer, and then her face turned red, and she said shyly, Brother Wu Crossing, how can you do this? Is it not possible? You don't know how arrogant this little witch was just now." After Wu Crossing finished speaking, he smiled and pulled Xiao Wu into his arms, saying, "Unlike my Xiao Wu, who is well behaved, obedient, and beautiful." Xiao Wu was pulled into Wu Crossing's arms in front of Rangrang, and her pretty face became even redder. But after hearing Brother Wu Crossing's words praising her, she felt very sweet in her heart, but because there were people beside her, she felt embarrassed. Brother Wu Crossing, let Xiao Wu go." "No." Wu Crossing sniffed Xiao Wu's long ponytail, and held her tighter with both hands. Ning Rangrang, who was standing by, was watching Wu Crossing and Xiao Wu's intimate behavior. Her mouth was almost pouted to the sky, and jealousy filled the entire bedroom. This big bad guy, this big pervert, just said that she was his favorite little witch, and now he threw her aside to talk sweet words to Xiao Wu. Humph. Men are all big pigs, and what they say is not credible at all. Xiao Wu was hugged so tightly by Brother Wu Crossing, and kissed her hair. She was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to crawl into. If there was no one, it would be fine. Maybe she would listen to the love words from her lover's mouth with blurred eyes. The problem is that Rangrang is watching from the side. How can she withstand such teasing? Ahem. Just when Xiao Wu felt ashamed and Wu Crossing was looking at the lovely girl in his arms happily, a cough sounded again from outside the bedroom. Mom. Hearing the sound, Xiao Wu's whole body trembled, struggling to escape from Wu Crossing's arms. Wu Crossing saw Arao standing outside the bedroom. He didn't even have time to blush and let go of Xiao Wu. He was screwed. Arao saw everything he did when he couldn't hold back his interest and teased Xiao Wu. It would be much more difficult for him to conquer her again. Chapter 212 Past Life Delicacies. When being intimate with one's own woman, the most embarrassing thing is to be discovered by the mother-in-law, not to mention Wu Crossing who has feelings for her. More importantly, it would be fine if Xiao Wu was alone, but there was also Ning Rangrang next to him. What a mother-in-law would be happy with what he did? Would she trust her daughter to her? "Sister Arao, you are here too," Wu Crossing said with an awkward smile. Ning Rangrang looked at Wu Crossing who was smiling at her and almost couldn't help laughing out loud. "What the hell did you do before?" Xiao Wu also blushed and lowered her head, her little hands nervously grasping her skirt, as if she was a child who had done something wrong, standing in front of her mother. Of course, she was not worried, but more shy, because her mother had already agreed to her relationship with Brother Wu Crossing. Ling Yuan behind Era also looked at Wu Crossing and sighed with a smile, and couldn't help rolling her eyes at the little man. This idiot, he didn't even know to lock the door of the room when he was intimate, and now it's alright. Let's see how you can capture Erao's heart. She knew what the little man thought of Erao. After all, the two of them were protecting him from behind. When the sisters were in seclusion, the other party made up some stories to capture the beautiful woman in palace dress. You can imagine what he was thinking. But now that her daughter is like this with the little man, no mother would agree to commit herself to him, right? Mother and daughter, don't even think about it. Even if her sister is willing, she can't help. Erao didn't say anything about her daughter's behavior with the benefactor. On the contrary, she felt very happy to see Xiao being so close to the benefactor. After all, which mother doesn't want her daughter to be happy? And she is very optimistic about the benefactor. But as Ling Yuan thought, her heart, which was finally pried open by Wu Crossing and a little loose, was closed again and tightly shut. But in order to avoid the embarrassment on the scene, Erao did not want to embarrass Wu Crossing, and said, "My benefactor, Wu Nan just said that we can go to the dining place." As the housekeeper of the spaceship, Wu Nan did not enter the room of the master and his wife. Even if she prepared dinner, she would inform them in advance. "Oh, okay, we will come." Wu Crossing couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he heard this. This awkward atmosphere was really unbearable for him. Erao responded, then looked at her daughter, and turned to leave the bedroom. Seeing her mother turned and left, Xiao Wu secretly looked at Wu Crossing, and then followed her mother. Ning Rangrang smiled and winked at Wu Crossing, and also followed him out with brisk steps. Seeing the little witch gloating, Wu Crossing was so angry that his teeth itched and decided to get back at the current place. "Why didn't you remind me in advance?" Wu Crossing looked at Ling Yuan, who was left in the bedroom, and couldn't help but say. Ling Yuan rolled her eyes and replied unhappily, "Little man, you still blame your sister for not reminding you? You can't control yourself. What does it have to do with your sister? Besides, even if you want to do something bad, why don't you even close the door?" Ling Yuan's words made sense. Wu Crossing couldn't refute it. But he closed the door. He just didn't lock it. It must be the little witch's good deed again. She wanted to attack him, so she didn't close the door after coming in. But of course he couldn't explain this to Ling Yuan. The little witch liked excitement, and he also enjoyed it, so he could only swallow his anger. "You don't have to worry, I think Sister Rao doesn't mind you being intimate with Xiao Wu," Ling Yuan teased. When Wu Crossing heard this, the corners of his mouth twitched a few times. Is this what he meant? He wants more, not just to satisfy Xiao Wu. After exhaling, Wu Crossing put his mind back and said to Ling Yuan, "Let's go to the restaurant." When they left the room and came to the restaurant, all the women were already there. Seeing the scene in front of him, Wu Crossing was actually a little strange. Logically speaking, Ruoxi, Yanzi, Lingling and Dao Dao should have appeared in his bedroom, but why didn't they come? But Xiao and the others came to him? Of course, he would never think that his own women were thinking of creating opportunities for him. After all, they were together every day, while Xiao and the others lived in Shrek. Since they were all his women, he hoped that Wu Crossing could treat them equally. This thought flashed through his mind, and Wu Crossing was soon attracted by the dishes that Wu Nan placed on the dining table, just because all the dishes in front of him were from his famous dishes in his previous life. "What are these?" Wu Crossing looked at the dishes one by one in shock, and asked Wu Nan. The women sitting there were also very curious about these dishes. They also saw that they were different from the dishes in the Douluo world, but Wu Crossing hadn't come yet, so they didn't ask. "Master, these are some dishes from your world. Wu Nan thinks you should like them." Wu Nan picked up another plate of spicy chicken and placed it on the table, explaining slowly. "Yeah." Wu Crossing nodded after getting the confirmation, and he missed the delicious food in his previous life. He immediately called the girls and said, "Everyone, try it. This is the famous dish of the world before I traveled through time. See if you like it." Knowing that it was Wu Crossing's previous life's dish, the girls couldn't wait to taste it. They picked up the chopsticks and put the dishes in front of them into their mouths and chewed them gently. In an instant, their eyes lit up. "How is it? Is it delicious?" Wu Crossing also picked up a portion of sweet and sour pork ribs and put it in his mouth. The familiar recipe and the familiar taste. Delicious. The girls nodded. This is very different from the food in the Douluo world, but it is equally delicious. Haha, if you like it, eat more. Wu Crossing laughed and picked up another portion of Danpo pork and put it in the bowl. At the same time, the girls did the same. They also began to try different dishes. Without exception, they all sweeted their appetites and whetted their appetites. After all, it was made by Wunan. The knowledge and skills she stored were better than those of a 5-star chef in her previous life. By the way, Wunan, aren't you going to eat? At this moment, Yi Lingling saw that all the dishes were served, but Wunan, who was standing behind Wu Crossing, asked. Wunan smiled and said, "Madam, Wunan is a bionic person. She has no digestive system and does not need to eat." No digestive system? Hearing this new word, the women paused and looked at their men curiously. Wu Crossing didn't know how to explain it, so he said, "You can think of it as not replenishing your energy by eating food." The women were confused when they heard it. Wu Crossing seemed to have said it, but it seemed that he didn't say it. "Let Wunan explain it to you." Wu Crossing looked at the confused women and said with a red face. Wunan smiled slightly, waved her hand lightly, and a huge screen appeared on the wall in front of the restaurant, playing the annotation of the digestive system. At this moment, everyone knew what the digestive system was and what a bionic person was. The world of science and technology is indeed a world of science and technology. It is indeed very different from the world they live in. Chapter 213 Xiao Wu's Super Assistants. After dinner, Wu Crossing and the girls did not return to Yuxun, but played in the spaceship. In order to prevent the giant from being discovered by outsiders, he also asked Wunan to rise to an altitude of 10,000 meters and hide it by the way. Inside the spaceship, there are complete facilities, such as various amusement facilities, bars, KTV and movie halls. Wu Crossing took the girls to play all of them, allowing them to experience the fun of playing with his lovers in his previous life. The only pity is that Wu Crossing originally wanted to take them swimming, but actually wanted to see the temptation of them wearing bikinis. This wish was shattered. After all, Douluo Continent is not as open as the people in the previous life. I can only find ways to make them agree in the future. They are all my women. Why are they shy? It's not a group sport. Since the places for entertainment in the previous life are richer than those in Douluo Continent, the girls are all having fun. They were really tired until late at night and returned to their respective rooms to rest. However, when he was flipping the cards, something unexpected happened. Because Erao and Yuking were both his pre-selected women, he accidentally took them all out this time, and he actually flipped Erao's card. In the end, it is conceivable that Erao did not turn against him, so how could she agree? Wu Crossing could only stay alone in the empty room. But because of this incident, Xiao Wu knew that her brother Wu Crossing was actually thinking about her mother. Xiao Wu actually didn't mind that brother Wu Crossing had thoughts about her mother. After all, she was a soul beast. Even though she had lived in human society for so many years, she didn't have too many ideas about this. The most important point was that if her mother became brother Wu Crossing's woman, she would be able to stay with her forever in the future and would never be separated. It must be said that Xiao Wu's mind was very simple, not as complicated as humans, and she even planned to assist brother Wu Crossing. Xiao Wu, who had just returned to the rest area, went into her mother's room and was going to sleep with her tonight. "Mom, why don't you agree with brother Wu Crossing? Don't you like him?" Xiao Wu, lying on the bed, hugged her mother, her beautiful eyes full of doubts. After hearing what her daughter said, Erao was speechless for a moment. After a while, she reached out and rubbed Xiao Wu's head and said, "How could mom not like Benefactor? Benefactor has always remembered the great kindness he has shown to mom and Xiao Wu. But why didn't you agree to brother Wu Crossing tonight?" Xiao Wu was even more puzzled. Since mom has such a great affection for brother Wu Crossing, why would she refuse? In her soul beast world, shouldn't the whole family be together? Looking at her ignorant daughter, Erao sighed helplessly and said, "Xiao Wu, you don't understand. Humans and soul beasts are different. If mom agrees, Benefactor will be gossiped about." Why? Xiao Wu didn't understand. Seeing her daughter acting like a curious baby, Erao smiled helplessly and explained, "Because such things are not allowed in the human world." and a person like Engan will definitely not be confined to the Douluo world in the future. How can mom be worthy of him? What's more, mom is not clean. I gave birth to you, Xiao. Mom, what's unclean about you? You are the cleanest mother in the world. Xiao hugged her mother tightly and retorted, what's wrong with giving birth? Brother Wuxing is such a good person and he doesn't mind. It's mom who can't get over it. Okay, Xiao, it's late. Go to bed early. Mom's biggest wish in this life is to see you and Engan live happily together. Erao looked at her daughter's impassioned rebuttal and said with a headache, but Xiao Wu wants to be with you forever. Xiao Wu put her head in Erao's arms and said coquettishly, Mom, just agree to brother Wu Crossing's pursuit. Then you don't have to worry about anyone separating us. Besides, Sister Ling Yuan is already brother Wu Crossing's woman, and she doesn't care about the age issue. Why do you care so much about these things, Mom? Also, Sister Ling Yuan, Sister Ruoxi and the others said that, as long as the strength is strong enough, no one dares to gossip about anything you do. Don't you think brother Wu Crossing is not good enough? Will he not be strong enough in the future? Listening to her daughter's continuous questions, Erao was stunned for a moment. Where did Xiao Wu learn this? She actually started to teach her. However, her heart was also a little touched by her daughter's words. As her daughter said, she also hoped to stay with her daughter and didn't want to be separated. After her daughter married the benefactor in the future, she would form a new family with the benefactor and his women. What should she do then? Unconsciously, under Xiao Wu's persuasion, Erao's tightly closed heart began to loosen up a little. Thinking of the stories that her benefactor had told her before, and the burning look that he often gave her, Erao's face unconsciously flushed. As if she had noticed her mother's loosening, Xiao Wu's hands tightened again, and her head was even harder, and she said coquettishly, Mom, even if it's not for anything else, you can agree to it for Xiao Wu, okay? Seeing her daughter's coquettish look, Erao's face was full of tenderness, and she said, okay, Mom promises Xiao Wu, if the benefactor doesn't give up, then Mom agrees. Mom is the best, yeah. Xiao Wu raised her head from her mother's arms and kissed her on the face happily. Seeing her daughter's behavior, Erao tapped her forehead with a smile. You girl, you are still like a child who has not grown up. Xiao Wu will always be a child in front of her mother. Xiao Wu replied with a smile. Seeing her daughter saying this with a proud look on her face, Erao smiled and shook her head again. Okay, Xiao, it's late. Go to bed. Yeah. Xiao, who had fulfilled her wish, responded and closed her eyes in Erao's arms. Her mother's arms are always so comfortable. Seeing her daughter close her eyes, Erao gently stroked Xiao's hair, but her eyes were looking at the starry sky outside the window, wondering what she was thinking. In his room, Wu Crossing didn't know that Xiao had persuaded his mother to agree to his pursuit. If he knew, he would definitely reward this little rabbit well. It was really too powerful. After months of trying hard to get closer, he couldn't do anything further, but she easily accomplished it. At this time, he didn't fall asleep, but also looked at the stars outside the window and fell into deep thought. However, he was not thinking about Erao's matter, nor because he was alone in an empty room, but thinking about all the things and experiences he encountered today. He just sorted it out again, and didn't get any results about the creator of the diary, except that the girl in the photo was very similar to the goddess in the perfect world. Chapter 214 Suruox's background. For 3 consecutive days, Wu Crossing and the women spent time in the spaceship in the universe. The facilities inside were richer than imagined, such as virtual technology, virtual scenes, and virtual worlds, which were displayed vividly, far beyond the comparison of mimicry cultivation. It was not until the 4th day that everyone left the spaceship and returned to Xiandao City. Because the second round of the promotion competition of the elite competition of the Advanced Soul Master Academy of the continent was about to start. Originally, the host and referee of the promotion competition, with Dao Dao's current qualifications and influence, it would not be her turn anyway, but because Wu Crossing personally came forward and supported her, it finally fell into her hands. This also fully reflects the importance of strength and status, whether in the previous life or Douluo. For this reason, Dao Dao was happy all day, dressing up carefully, seducing with various uniforms, and even role-playing to please Wu Crossing. As for his own women, Wu Crossing has never been stingy, let alone the host quota of the Xiandao sub-competition area, even the host quota of the finals. He will fight for Dao Dao. The promotion match was not held in the Xiandao Great Soul Fighting Arena, but in the Royal Knights Great Parade Ground. Apart from that, no spectators were allowed to watch the promotion match. To put it nicely, it was to protect the privacy of Soul Masters, and for safety considerations. In fact, it was to allow major forces to observe the individual strength of the players more intuitively, so as to facilitate the recruitment of outstanding talents. Of course, in addition to the original 5 teams that have been confirmed to qualify in the Xiandao division, the promotion match also added 2 teams from the 4 affiliated kingdoms and a team from an affiliated principality for individual round-robin matches. Although many new teams have appeared, judging from the results of the previous Xiandao Empire promotion matches, they are all far ahead, not to mention that the overall strength of this session is much higher than that of previous sessions. But there are also teams from kingdoms that do not believe in evil, such as the Berek Kingdom, which once had a conflict with Shrek Academy. The final result was that Xiao Wu easily defeated 7 teams and completely crushed them. When the Xiandao Team 2 was playing, Yufeng came to Wu Crossing and asked, "Wu Crossing, aren't you going to play in the promotion match?" Wu Crossing's amazing performance in the preliminaries had already made him the target of the Imperial family and major forces. If he could win 7 games in the promotion match, his status and reputation would reach unprecedented heights again. Another point is that, if Wu Crossing performed well again, he would also rise with the tide and go further. This is also the main reason why he came to ask the other party specifically. He hopes that the other party can play. Wu Crossing is the only one in the entire Douluo world who can be so polite to ask for advice. There is no way. Wu Crossing's strength is too strong, and his promotion speed is unique. In less than a year, after joining the Xiandao Team 2, he has reached the Soul King from the 30th level Soul Master, he thinks, and has an unparalleled Super Soul Ring. Which teacher would not hold such a talented student in the palm of his hand? But in the face of Yufeng's inquiry, Wu Crossing refused. He is now a Soul Saint, and his real strength is not much worse than Ling Yuan and A Rao. Isn't it bullying to go on the field? Besides, fighting against these teams will not give him any help, so there is no need to play house. It is better to leave this opportunity to his women and let them get more training. Yufeng was also helpless about Wu Crossing's decision not to play, but he did not insist. After all, it is no exaggeration to say that he can get huge rewards from the Empire now thanks to the other party. The first team of Xiandao Team 2 is the Fabia Academy team from the affiliated kingdom, which is also Su Ruox's original country, the Fabia Kingdom. And she is the only legitimate daughter of the Duke of Sisvina in the Fabia Kingdom. Because the old king of the Fabia Kingdom suddenly passed away a few years ago, it caused turmoil in the country, and the sons in the royal family competed for the throne. The Duke of Sisvina chose to be neutral, so he used his relationship to let his daughter enter the Xiandao Royal Academy to study. This is also the cleverness of the Duke of Sisvina. He has only one daughter and no son. No matter which prince wins the throne, he doesn't have to worry about attracting fire to himself. With his position in the kingdom of Fabia, no matter which prince wins the throne, he will eventually marry his daughter as the queen. Husband, there is something Ruoxi wants to tell you. After Yufeng left, Su Ruoxi said to Wu Crossing a little nervously, "What's wrong?" Looking at Su Ruoxi's somewhat nervous expression, Wu Crossing asked in confusion. Su Ruoxi glanced at her man, then looked at a certain position in the VIP seats, and then slowly explained. "It doesn't matter, husband understands." After listening to Su Ruox's words, Wu Crossing smiled slightly, rubbed her hair, and said gently, "Wait until the game is over. Husband will accompany you to express your attitude." Yeah. After hearing Wu Crossing's words, Su Ruox's originally nervous heart finally relaxed. She was afraid that her man would misunderstand, and she was also afraid that her father's plan would make Wu Crossing unhappy. "Since your family is here, you will represent the Xiandao second team in this game." After hearing Su Ruox's explanation, Du Guyan and Li Lingling both took the initiative to give up their positions. The remaining members of the second team were all led by Wuxing and Duguyan. Wuxing was the captain, Duguyan was the deputy captain. Now that the deputy captain had spoken, they would naturally not snatch the opportunity to perform. At the same time, in the VIP seats, far away from the main seat, Sushiwina and the former third prince, now King Fabius, were sitting together. After hearing about the upcoming match between the Fabia Academy team and the Xiandao second team, everyone looked at the field below. Duke Wina, I heard that your daughter's team is in the Xiandao Royal second team. Fabius looked around the contestants on the field and asked Sushiwina. Your Majesty, my daughter is indeed in the Xiandao Royal second team. Sushiwina replied. Fabius nodded after hearing this and then asked, Duke Wina, which one is your daughter? Your Majesty, my daughter is on the lower left, standing in the third position in the first team. Sushiwina pointed to the location of the Xiandao Royal second team and introduced them to Fabius. But when he saw his daughter being intimate with a man in the same team, his face changed slightly. It turned out to be her. The daughter of your family is really beautiful. No wonder she is called the most beautiful woman in our Fabia Empire. Fabius also saw the scene in front of him, but he did not show too much strangeness. Although he is now the actual controller of the Fabia kingdom, his status here is not high. Not to mention Emperor Zuyi, even the leader of the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect Ning Fengxi and the Platinum leader of the Spirit Hall Ceres are all the objects he wants to please. Even King Beric is above him. After all, among the 4 affiliated kingdoms of the Xiandao Empire, Fabia can only be ranked second in strength. The players in the Xiandao Royal Academy are all from princes and nobles. It is possible that there are people with great status and background. The kings of a country are not simple people. Even if the woman who may become his queen is intimate with a man, his face will not show too much. Chapter 215 The Fabia Kingdom people are stunned. Listening to the king's words, Sushiwina agreed awkwardly, but he was extremely nervous. Even his legal wife, Su Ruox's biological mother, Mrs. Ruolin, couldn't help but worry. How could Ruox's daughter be so close to a man? Didn't she know that she might become the queen of the kingdom of Fabia in the future? What would King Fabius think if he saw this? If that man was also a prince from a major kingdom, or even the legitimate son of an important family in the empire, it would be better. King Fabius would not turn his face, but if his status could not match it, the Sushiwina family would definitely be hit by the royal family. Just when the Sushiwina couple were uneasy, Daodao's voice sounded in the field. Next, please invite 2 contestants from your respective teams to enter. As Daodao's voice fell, a member of the Fabia Academy team and Su Ruoxi from the Xiandao Royal team too also stepped onto the stage. When seeing Su Ruoxi step onto the stage, both Fabius and the Sushiwina couple were stunned. Duke Wina, if I'm not mistaken, isn't your daughter an auxiliary spirit master? How come she's also participating in the promotion match? Fabius' eyes flickered, and he looked meaningfully at Sushiwina. As we all know, the promotion match is a one-on-one match, and auxiliary spirit masters don't need to play. Now that Su Ruoxi is on the field, doesn't that mean that the Duke is hiding something from him? Sushiwina's heart skipped a beat when he heard Fabius' words, and his whole body began to shudder. He could sense the dissatisfaction revealed by the king. Your Majesty, I don't know what's going on. My daughter is indeed an auxiliary spirit master. Sushiwina wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and answered carefully. Now he couldn't figure out what was going on. Why was his daughter still playing in the Imperial promotion match? He only knew that his servants wrote to say that the Xiandao second team, where the lady was, had already qualified, and he didn't pay much attention to the others. After all, the new king of Fabia Kingdom has just ascended the throne, and with the arrival of the All Continent Soul Master competition, he has to deal with government affairs all the time, and he can't spare any extra time to pay attention to his daughter who is far away in the Xiandao Empire. Of course, if it was just like this, he couldn't be unaware of his daughter's deeds in the Xiandao competition area. The main reason is that Su Ruoxi asked her servants to conceal some things. She didn't want her parents to know that she was dating Wuxing, lest they send someone to come, which would lead to some unpleasant things happening. Grandma, Grandpa, look at the information on the screen. Just when Su Shiwina was sweating, Madame Ruan on the side seemed to have seen something shocking, pointing to the player data above the ring and trembling. Madame Ruelin's words made Fabius and Su Shiwina look up subconsciously. It doesn't matter if you don't look, but when you look, you're all shocked. Su Ruoxi, level 58 Soul King, Martial Soul, Twin Martial Souls, Linglang Kingxi and Fengyun Yaoshan, Soul Rings, 2 yellow, 1 purple, 2 red. Level 58 Soul King, my god, is this a member of the Imperial Academy? It's really terrifying. Twin Martial Spirits. It's actually Twin Martial Spirits. It's a Twin Martial Spirit that integrates support and attack. And there are soul rings. Damn, this is even more amazing than the Xiao Wu from Shrek Academy just now. As the panel information on the player's data appeared, a group of distinguished guests from the kingdoms and principalities outside the Xiandao internal competition area all took a breath and looked at the data on it dumbfounded. As for the Su Shiwina couple at this time, they were already dumbfounded by their daughter's data panel. Their daughter is actually already a level 58 Soul King, and Twin Martial Spirits. Even the soul rings are something they have never heard of. How come they, as parents, don't know about this? What on earth has she experienced to become so unfamiliar in just 3 years? And those servants, what are they doing? Such a big thing, they didn't even report it to him? When Fabius reacted, his eyes shot out a scorching light. He didn't expect that the daughter of Duke Su Shiwina would be so outstanding and have such a high talent. From the simple information above, it can be seen that if he can marry her as the queen, his position will be more solid and all the dissatisfied ministers will shut up, and he may even go a step further. After all, everyone knows that at her age, she can reach the level of 58 Soul King. How exaggerated will her future achievements be? Marrying her is equivalent to marrying a titled Douluo wife. Titled Douluo, even the empire must treat them as guests of honor, and it is already very rare for the kingdom to get the support of Soul Douluo. Now there is a Soul Master who may be a titled Douluo in the future, and the most important thing is that there is a female Soul Master who can be married home. How can he not be excited? Moreover, not to mention the soul ring, just talking about the Twin Martial Souls, it is not something that ordinary Soul Masters can compare with. Duke Wina, you are really hiding it. You have kept everyone in the dark. You actually had such a genius daughter, Fabius said with emotion to Su Shiwina beside him. However, his tone changed from the original displeasure to amazement and praise. Now Fabius understood that it was not about whether the other party's daughter was worthy of him, but whether he could win the other party's daughter's heart. The ministers following Fabius also showed flattering smiles and kept praising Su Ruoxi. Listening to the praises of many ministers including King Fabius, Su Shiwina also responded with a smile. Until now, he still couldn't believe that his daughter had grown up to such an excellent level after more than 3 years away. But he knew that, if the information was true, the Su Shiwina family would usher in earth-shaking changes. At the same time, the members of the Fabia Academy team on the ring, after hearing Dada announce Su Ruoxi's information, he also stood there stupidly, looking at the other party in disbelief. Su Ruoxi, he naturally knew, and there were probably few people in Fabia City who didn't know that the Duke of Su Shiwina had a daughter who was not only beautiful, but also extremely talented, but he never expected that she would be so outstanding. He originally thought that he was good enough in the kingdom of Fabia, but compared with the other party, there was a world of difference. Suddenly, his original will to fight was gone. A level 38 Soul Master was not even the best Soul Ring configuration. How could he compare with a level 58 Soul King? Fight with his head. Su Ruoxi on the ring had a cold face at this time. Her competition this time was of great significance. Not only was she not disappointed with the expectations of Sister Yan'an and Sister Lingling, but also for Wu Crossing, so that she could make the decision in her marriage, so that her parents and the princes and nobles of the kingdom of Fabia would dispel any inappropriate thoughts. So even when her opponent was 2 realms weaker than her, she would take it seriously. When Dao Da announced the start, from the 5 soul rings under Su Ruoxi's feet, that flashed with dazzling light at the first time, it can be seen that she is determined to treat this competition Note, the perfect soul rings of the system can be used universally, so that no one can say that the meaning of the perfect soul ring is this. It can also absorb new soul rings again, so that all soul rings are a million years or something. Chapter 216 Respective Reactions. Seeing that the opponent was a level 58 Soul King, the Fabia Academy team members lost all their fighting spirit. Seeing the opponent's red soul ring, that everyone was paying attention to, they couldn't even think of resisting. They were cleared out of the ring after one fight. The same thing happened to the next 6 members. They were shut out and defeated 7 by 1. It was a huge shame for every academy. Even if they were unwilling, the huge gap in soul power and soul rings made them have no chance at all. They couldn't even last 2 rounds, let alone force Suruaxi to use the auxiliary martial spirit. Oh my god, this is too cool. The battle was resolved in 1 round. From today on, she is my goddess. Haha, your goddess. Don't even think about it. She has a boyfriend, and her boyfriend is even more powerful. Seeing Suruaxi on the ring facing the entire Fabia Academy team, she always killed them with 1 blow, and never needed to make a second move. The students from the kingdoms and principalities were shocked, and some even called her goddess. However, these students were hit by the students from the Empire Division just after they shouted, "The goddess has a boyfriend? Her boyfriend is more powerful than the goddess Su." Hearing the words of the students in the Empire Division, they were all stunned. Many students really couldn't imagine that such a powerful goddess actually had a boyfriend, and her boyfriend was actually more powerful than the other party. But soon they got the affirmation from the students in the Empire Division, and the restlessness that had finally risen was instantly shattered. That's right, you saw the man from Xiandao team too. Here's the other party's boyfriend. A student in the Empire Division pointed to Wu Crossing's position and said proudly, even Xiao Wu from Shrek Academy just now is his girlfriend. What? Hearing this, many students were shocked again. Xiao Wu from Shrek Academy just now was also the girlfriend of that man? How powerful is the other party to make 2 goddesses fall in love with him? Listening to the discussions of the students, Huo Wu from Chihuo Academy's side suddenly darkened. Wu Crossing, that bastard, asked him out so many times, but he didn't want to come out. Is this lady not beautiful enough? Is her figure not hot enough? Thinking of this, Huo Wu lowered her head and looked at herself, then looked at Feng Xiaoshan beside her and asked, Feng Xiaoshan, I have something to ask you. Sister Huo Wu, whatever it is, just ask. Feng Xiaoshan didn't expect Huo Wu to take the initiative to talk to him, and he was overjoyed. I ask you, am I pretty? Huo Wu looked very serious. Hearing Huo Wu's question, Feng Xiaoshan was stunned at first, and then quickly replied, pretty, Sister Huo Wu is the most beautiful in my heart. Then why is Wu Crossing not interested in me at all? Huo Wu raised her eyebrows and asked angrily. Puff. Feng Xiaoshan felt his chest surging when he heard it, and a mouthful of old blood spurted out, and his whole body flew backwards like a kite with a broken string. It was so hurtful, so bullying to me. I thought I was going to usher in spring, but I never thought that Sister Huo Wu was asking about her appearance, because Wu Crossing was not interested in her. Damn guy, Wu Crossing. I want to ask you for a decision, to ask for your technique to pick up girls. At Xianshu College, listening to the discussions of the students, Shujua pouted her lips. Sister, we can't sit and wait for death anymore. Let's go to Wuxing tonight. Looking at her sister's indignant look, Xu Bing's mouth twitched, but she was a little moved in her heart. She had made several appointments with Wuxing, but every time she said she had something to do and would wait for another day, which made her very discouraged. Doesn't this bastard like beautiful women? Why is he not interested in them? Isn't it better to have sisters? In the VIP seats, Fabius looked at Suruaxi, who was heroic, and had 7 matches in a row, and his desire became stronger. Duke Weena, I wonder if you can introduce me to your daughter tonight. Fabius looked at Sushi Weena beside him, and asked with a smile. Sushi Weena was still stunned by the strength displayed by his daughter. After hearing what King Fabius said, he paused and quickly replied, Your Majesty, I will do my best. He did not agree, but said that he would do his best. With his daughter's current performance, it was inevitable that she would be wooed by major superpowers, and there was no need to worry about causing Fabius displeasure. On the contrary, he had to ask his daughter's opinion. This was the status brought by strength, which was particularly obvious in a world where the strong were respected. Then I will wait for the good news from Duke Vina. Fabius also understood this, so he always had a smile on his face. Su Ruoxi, who walked off the stage, immediately received praise from Du Guyan and Li Lingling. Sister Ruoxi, sister, your performance is really outstanding. Su Ruoxi blushed modestly and then looked at Wu Crossing. You performed very well. Wu Crossing also praised generously. Su Ruoxi was very happy when she heard this. This was her man's affirmation of her strength. Nothing could make her happier than Wu Crossing's praise. The competition was still going on, but because Xiao Wu and Su Ruoxi's 1-on-7 performance was so dazzling, the following competition was more or less overshadowed. It was not until Huo Wu from Chihuo Academy and Xu Bing'er from Xianshu Academy also accomplished such a feat that the competition was pushed to a climax again. However, after they did all this, there was not much surprise on their faces. They all looked at Wu Crossing's position, especially Huo Wu, who even made an angry expression with her hands on her hips and glared at him. Looking at the angry eyes of Huo Wu and Xu Bing'er, Wu Crossing was a little embarrassed, and his hand unconsciously touched his nose, as if he understood why they were like this. A beautiful woman, who was also the goddess of their respective academies, was willing to lower herself to ask him out. He ignored her several times, so there was no way he could make them happy. But there was nothing he could do about it. This matter was based on first come first served. Although he was fickle, he would not get tired of the old and fall in love with the new. On the contrary, Du Guyan and Ning Rangrang were very happy to see these beauties from the Element Academy angry. I wish Wu Crossing would never pay attention to these vixens. There is only one man in the family. One more woman means more love, and they get less. How can they hope to see it? Su Ruoxi looked at everything in front of her and couldn't help but think of her own situation. She was very glad that she made a decisive decision at the beginning and thanked God for the arrangement that allowed her to meet Wu Crossing first so that she could get his care and love. Thinking of this, Su Ruoxi cared more about this hard-won fate. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217, Su Ruoxi's parents. After the game, Wu Crossing was about to leave with a few women when he met a woman dressed as a maid. This maid was ordered by the Duke of Sisvina to come to find his young lady Su Ruoxi. What's wrong? After the two finished talking, Wu Crossing walked up to ask. Su Ruoxi pursed her lips and said, "Husband, my father said that my mother missed me and asked me to go over. Then I'll go with you. It's a good opportunity to meet your parents." Wu Crossing thought about it and said, anyway, after learning about his woman's affairs, he planned to find a time to visit Su Ruoxi's parents and express his attitude to them. Since the maid is here now, it's better to do it on the first day. Thank you, husband. Su Ruoxi said happily after hearing Wu Crossing's answer. She originally wanted Wu Crossing to accompany her, but before she could open her mouth, her man had already said it first, which made her feel extremely happy. You girl, you are being polite to your husband. Wu Crossing shook his head with a smile. Su Ruoxi laughed and took her man's arm. Wu Crossing turned around and told Du Guyan and the others to go back to Yuxuan first, and then, led by the maid, walk towards a certain direction of the parade ground. Because many princes and nobles from vassal states came to the promotion match, Emperor Zuyi specially renovated the Royal Knights parade ground to entertain the distinguished guests. Soon, the two of them, led by the maid, came to the temporary residence where Su Ruoxi's parents were. Ziozi. When they stepped into the house, a woman in gorgeous clothes shouted to Su Ruoxi happily. But as soon as she finished shouting, she noticed Wu Crossing, who was holding her daughter's arm, and couldn't help but pause slightly. Mother. When Su Ruoxi saw the woman, she immediately let go of Wu Crossing's arm and threw herself into the other's arms. At the same time, Su Ruoxi's father, Su Shiwina, was also sitting on the main seat in the house. Seeing his daughter coming, He also showed a happy smile on his face, but was soon attracted by Wukrosing's figure. Xiaoxi, who is this? The mother and daughter were warm for a moment, and Rulin let go of her daughter and looked at Wukrosing to ask, "Mother, father, this is Wukrosing. He is my daughter's boyfriend." Suruoxi hurriedly introduced him to her parents. Boyfriend? The two had guessed it, and now that their daughter confirmed it, they looked at each other again. "Boy Wukrosing, meet your uncle and aunt." Wukrosing raised his hand slightly and greeted politely. "Yes." Sushiwina nodded to Wukrosing and responded. Suruoxi's mother greeted with a smile on her face. "It turns out to be Xiaoxing. Please take a seat." Although she didn't know what kind of status the man in front of her had, she still knew the most basic etiquette. After everyone sat down, Sushiwina looked at his daughter and asked with a little excitement, "Xiaoxi, are you really a level 58 soul king now?" Although he saw the 5 soul rings on his daughter's body on the arena with his own eyes, it still felt a little unreal. After all, 3 years ago, when I sent my daughter to study at Xiandao Royal Academy, she was only a great soul master, but now she has become a soul king. This promotion speed is unheard of and unprecedented. More importantly, my daughter's martial soul originally had only 1 auxiliary martial soul, but now there is 1 more. Such a strange thing has never been heard of in the entire continent. Yes, father, this is also thanks to my husband. After Suruoxi answered, she looked at Wukrosing with a happy face. Although she was able to get a second martial soul with the help of Sister Lingyuan and others, the most important thing was because of her man. If it weren't for Wukrosing, she wouldn't have met Sister Lingyuan, nor would she have made close friends with Sister Yan'an and Sister Lingling, not to mention that they would unconditionally give her their martial soul fragments as rewards to awaken her twin martial souls first. This is all because she is Wukrosing's first woman. Whether it is Sister Yan'an, Sister Lingling, or even the 3 beauties of Shrek, they all respect her very much. Of course, she did not live up to Wukrosing's love. Although she was the first woman, she never used this to show her status to other women. Husband? Hearing their daughter addressing Wukrosing, both of them were stunned, but soon they focused their attention on Wukrosing. The reason why their daughter could reach the level of Soul King from a great soul master in such a short time and awaken the twin martial spirits was actually because of the other party. Wukrosing, where are you from? Which big family are you from? Or are you a disciple of the imperial royal family? Sushiwina was curious and took the initiative to talk to Wukrosing. Hearing Sushiwina's question, Wukrosing felt a familiar scene in his heart. Just like meeting the girl's parents in his previous life, he asked about his origins as soon as he opened his mouth. I didn't expect that. After coming to Douluo Continent, I couldn't avoid experiencing it. Reply to uncle, the boy is just a civilian in the empire. Wukrosing still used the previous rhetoric. Civilian in the empire? Sushiwina heard the words, and even Mrs. Ruolin was stunned. The two of them could not imagine that the other party was a civilian soul master, and they suddenly felt mixed emotions in their hearts. Suruoxi was afraid that her parents were snobbish, so she hurriedly explained, "Father, although Wukrosing is a civilian soul master, he is a soul saint." What? After this, Sushiwina looked at Wukrosing in shock, his eyes bigger than a cow's eyes. Looking at the other party's age, he was only 1 or 2 years older than his daughter at most, but he was actually a soul saint. Xiaoxi, are you sure you are not kidding? Sushiwina obviously didn't believe it, worried that this was his daughter's wording in order to be with Wukrosing. After all, at Wukrosing's age, let alone a soul saint, he had never heard of reaching the level of a soul emperor. Father, you don't believe your daughter's words? Suruoxi was a little unhappy when she heard it, but she secretly looked at Wukrosing from the corner of her eye. She was a little worried that her father's words would cause dissatisfaction to her husband. However, how could Wukrosing care about the suspicion of his woman's father, and smiled aside. Uncle, the boy is indeed a soul saint. After saying that, the soul power in his body surged, and then 7 soul rings with 5 color light rose from under his feet and surrounded him. Don't think the protagonist is licking. Suruoxi is his woman, facing his parents. This is normal, don't spray. When he saw the 7 soul rings on the other party, and the soul ring color he had never heard of, he was shocked again. It was not until a long time after he reacted that Sushi Wiener held back the shock in his heart and said excitedly, "Haha, Xing, I didn't expect you to be a soul saint at such a young age. It really opened your eyes." In an instant, Sushi Wiener even changed the way he addressed him and became very friendly. This is reality, whether it is in the previous life or Douluo, it is also the same. "Uncle, you are too kind." Xing retracted his soul power and replied modestly, "Haha, Xing, you are too modest." Sushi Wiener smiled heartily and was more satisfied with Xing. Mrs. Ruin on the side was also like a mother-in-law looking at her son-in-law, and the more she looked, the more she liked him. Seeing the joy of her parents, Xi was full of joy, and her beautiful eyes looking at Xing were almost crescent-shaped. "Duke Wiener, what makes you so happy?" Just then, a voice sounded from outside the house, and then a man in luxurious robes walked in. Chapter 218 Fabius. "Your Majesty." Seeing the man coming in, Sasvina's face changed instantly, and the whole person began to feel a little unnatural. The person who came was King Fabius. He didn't expect that His Majesty would come here so anxiously. Obviously, he was always paying attention to this place. It's just that now his daughter is dating Xing, and the other party is also a soul saint. Although there is no strong background behind him, the future potential is immeasurable. Anyone would know how to choose, let alone him as a duke. But what he is worried about is that Fabius has repeatedly expressed to him in the competition that he intends to marry Xi as the queen. After all, the soul saint is the soul saint. Although Fabius is only the king of the kingdom, his identity and status are not comparable to that of the soul saint now. Because of this, he is a little worried. Don't say that Fabius usually looks amiable, but he knows the other party's means, and never mind playing dirty tricks behind the scenes to achieve his goals. After all, being able to fight a bloody road among many princes and finally win the throne, how can he be an ordinary person? As Sushi Wiener thought, Fabius did send people to keep an eye on the duke's residence. X's performance on the field today made him think of her figure constantly, and he liked her more and more. If he could marry the daughter of the duke's mansion, it would be of great help to him in managing the kingdom of Fabia or taking the kingdom a step further. He couldn't help but feel excited. In order to avoid more troubles, and to avoid other major forces taking a fancy to him, or even the empire throwing an olive branch to him, he would secretly send people to keep an eye on him at all times. After learning that the other party had arrived, he immediately rushed over without stopping. Mrs. Ruolin, who was standing aside, saw Fabius coming, and her heart also skipped a beat, and she bowed slightly to show courtesy. After entering, Fabius looked at the people present. When he saw Xing, he couldn't help but stay for a while. He naturally learned from his subordinates that the man in front of him had an unusual relationship with the daughter of the Duke of Wiener. But Fabius soon turned his attention to Xi again, with a gentleman's smile on his face, and said, "Duke Wiener, I think this is your daughter." "Yes, your Majesty," Sushi Wiener said with a stiff face. Hearing this, Fabius smiled even more, and then said to Xi, "I have heard for a long time that the daughter of the Duke of Wiener is beautiful and talented. Today, I saw Miss Xi, and it is true that hearing about her is worse than meeting her in person." "Your Majesty, you are joking." Xi's tone was calm, her voice was cold, and there was no emotion on her face. "Haha, Miss Xi is too modest. I watched the whole game today." Fabius smiled heartily and continued, "With Miss X's talent, I'm afraid that the entire empire, even the golden generation of the Spirit Hall, cannot compare with you. Xi doesn't deserve it." In response to Fabius's praise, Xi just replied softly and leaned slightly towards her man. Fabius frowned slightly, but soon adjusted his mentality and turned to Sushi Wiener and asked, "Duke Wiener, who is this little brother?" "Your Majesty, he is X's lover." Xi said first without waiting for Sushi Wiener to answer. After she finished speaking, she stretched out her hands and took Xing's arm. Hearing X's answer and seeing her actions, Fabius's original smile suddenly froze and his face became gloomy. But the skill of nourishing his ki made him endure it, squeezed out a smile, and said, "To be favored by Miss Xi, he must be a disciple of a prince or nobleman. I wonder what your name is?" I'm just a civilian soul master of the empire. Wood Crossing replied lightly. Civilian soul master? Fabius was startled. He thought the other party was not ordinary at first, but he didn't expect it to be just a civilian soul master. In an instant, his originally depressed heart became active again. If it was just a civilian soul master, it would not be a worry. He had many ways to make the other party give up. Without the threat, Fabius immediately smiled confidently and invited Su Ruoxi. Miss Ruoxi, I have admired you for a long time in the capital. I wonder if you can honor me tonight and go to the imperial banquet with me? Sorry, Mr. Fabius, Ruoxi has to accompany me tonight, so I don't have time. Wood Crossing narrowed his eyes. This guy actually wanted to hit on his woman. When Fabius heard Wood Crossing's answer, the smile on his face changed. A civilian soul master dared to lose his face. He really had never died. Although the other party was a civilian soul master of the Xiandao Empire, it would be difficult for him to kill the other party with his status and position. But now he couldn't attack directly, so as not to arouse Su Ruoxi's disgust. His gloomy eyes flashed, and a gentlemanly smile appeared on his face again. He looked at Su Ruoxi and said, Miss Ruoxi, what do you think? He completely ignored Wood Crossing's words. Mr. Fabius, my wife's opinion represents my opinion. Su Ruoxi also saw Fabius's intention, and didn't even use the honorific, and answered directly in a cold voice. Su Ruoxi's attitude made Su Shiwina and his wife tremble. The thing they were most worried about still happened. They hurriedly said to ease the situation, Your Majesty. But before he finished speaking, Fabius's expression completely sank. He was repeatedly humiliated. How could he suppress his mood? Since he became King Fabia, no one has ever humiliated him like this. If the other party is a noble of the Xiandao Empire, the princes of the major kingdoms are better. A mere civilian soul master dared to ride on his head. Did he really think he was easy to talk to? Duke Weena, your daughter is really straightforward, Fabius said without a smile. Su Shiwina heard the words, and cold sweat dripped from her forehead. It was obvious that the king was angry. She hurriedly explained, Your Majesty, my daughter is just used to studying and living in the empire. It's not intentional. You don't have to say it. You can handle the empire dinner tonight. Fabius interrupted before Su Shiwina finished speaking. After that, he waved his sleeves and prepared to leave. He didn't believe it. With Sisvina's political awareness, he didn't know what he meant. Wait. Just as he was about to leave, Wood Crossing's voice rang out. What's the matter? Fabius stepped down and looked at Wood Crossing with a playful look. You shouldn't threaten my woman, Wood Crossing said lightly. Upon hearing this, Fabius was stunned at first, and then he reacted and laughed. Haha, you don't think that, just because you are from the Xiandao Empire, I dare not do anything to you, right? Be sensible and leave Miss Ruoxi immediately, otherwise I will make sure you don't see the sun tomorrow. Fabius, who do you want to make not see the sun tomorrow? However, just as the other party finished saying this cruel word, a voice came from outside, and Kan Ringsu, dressed as Xing, walked in from outside the house. Chapter 219 Puppet. Your Highness. Fabius was startled when he saw the person coming, and then hurried forward and bowed. Although he was a king, it was a vassal kingdom of the Xiandao Empire. There were 3 such kingdoms, and their status could be said to be completely on a different level from the other side. Even some of the ministers in the court of the Xiandao Empire were the objects he needed to curry favor with, not to mention the imperial prince in front of him. When the Sisvina couple saw Kan Ringsu coming, they also hurriedly bowed and said, Your Highness. Kan Ringsu nodded to the Sisvina couple, then looked at Fabius and said lightly, Fabius, who did you say you wanted to prevent from seeing the sun tomorrow? Your Highness. Fabius was joking. Fabius replied with a smile. Although Wood Crossing was only a civilian soul master, he was also a member of the Xiandao Empire, so he naturally couldn't lose face in front of Xing, which would be equivalent to slapping him in the face. This matter could only be done behind his back. Oh, is that so? Kan Ringsu glanced at Fabius calmly, then slowly looked at Wood Crossing, then bowed slightly to him and said, Mr. Wu, we meet again. It's not easy for King to find you. Kan Ringsu's words and her respectful attitude immediately made Fabius and the Sisvina couple present dumbfounded. Fabius felt a bolt of lightning flash through his mind and was severely hit. Isn't this kid a civilian soul master? Why is the Prince of the Empire so respectful to him? The Sisvina couple were also very surprised, but then they thought that with Wu Crossing's talent, it seemed reasonable for the other party to win him over. However, what they didn't expect was that Wu Crossing's answer almost made them drop their jaws. It's not easy for His Royal Highness the Crown Prince to find me, as long as you treat me with sincerity. Wu Crossing just smiled and replied to Qian Rinxu's words, without any servility, because of the other party's identity. Listening to Wu Crossing's answer, Qian Rinxu's face slightly flushed. She certainly knew what the other party meant. He wanted her to show her true face, but she was playing the role of the Imperial Prince Xing, so how could she easily return to her female body? Mr. Wu, you are joking. Qian Rinxu said lightly, and in order not to make herself look strange, she turned and said, Mr. Wu, is what Fabius said true? What do you think? Can he be joking, if he says such a thing? Wu Crossing said with a smile. Wu Crossing's answer made Fabius' face change drastically. This kid didn't give him any face at all, which was tantamount to directly tearing his face apart. Qian Rinxu's face darkened upon hearing this, and she said in a cold voice, Fabius, you are so bold. Master Wu is the most distinguished guest of the Empire and a close friend of my highness. How dare you threaten him? Your highness. Your highness. It is Fabius who is blind. Please calm down. Seeing Qian Rinxu's face darken, Fabius apologized repeatedly in fear. What's the point of you apologizing to my highness? If you can't give Master Wu a satisfactory answer, the Empire doesn't mind increasing the tribute to the Kingdom of Fabia by a few percent. Qian Rinxu said in a cold voice, not intending to give up at all. Yes, yes, your highness. After Fabius was frightened, he immediately apologized to Wu Crossing. Mr. Wu, it was Fabius who didn't notation. You, a great man, didn't remember the mistakes of Evelyn. You thought what I said just now was bullshit. The Kingdom of Fabia had just experienced a struggle for the throne. He had just ascended the throne not long ago. The foundation of the court was still unstable. It was time to keep a low profile. If the Empire really wanted to increase tribute, he might be made a fuss by many ministers, who were still dissatisfied with him, and thus lose the throne. This is why, after seeing Suruaxi showing her talent, he was eager to get her to consolidate his regime. Facing Fabius's apology, Wu Crossing smiled lightly and said, that's not what you said just now. Didn't you make me not see the sun tomorrow? How could he let it go when he was thinking about his woman and threatening her family? Fabius didn't expect that this kid would not let go even after he apologized. A vicious look flashed in his eyes, but now Qian Rinxu was beside him. He couldn't show it, so he could only apologize again. Mr. Wu, I'm sorry. Fabius was wrong just now. Please spare me. Go away. Wu Crossing said lightly. Fabius's face changed again after hearing this, and his fists clenched even more. This kid actually asked him to go away. He is a king. How could he be treated like this, especially in front of the king and Sushi Wiener and his wife? How could he have the face to manage the Kingdom of Fabia? But he knew that this was not the time to act on impulse, so he quickly smiled and responded, and then walked out quickly. Ling Yuan. Seeing Fabius leave, Wu Crossing shouted softly. In an instant, a figure appeared in front of him. Looking at the woman who suddenly appeared, Sushi Wiener and his wife's pupils shrank. The Crown Prince of the Empire was present, and the other party actually recruited guards? What was he going to do? I don't need to tell you what's going to happen next. Wu Crossing's voice was cold, and no expression could be seen. Ling Yuan understands. Ling Yuan responded, and then his figure flashed and disappeared in the hall. Qian Rinxu never felt anything strange about all this, but Sushi Wiener took a breath of cold air. Being able to reach his position, he would not be unaware of what the other party wanted to do by saying this. But it was precisely because he knew that he felt unbelievable. Did the other party want to take action against King Fabius? And in front of the Crown Prince of the Empire? The most shocking thing was that the Crown Prince of the Empire didn't say anything, as if he had acquiesced. You know, if the Lord of a kingdom gets into trouble in the imperial capital, even if it is an affiliated kingdom, it is a very serious matter for the Xiandao Empire. The Crown Prince of the Empire should not be indifferent, but he didn't say anything. Where is the civilian soul master? Now the crown prince of the empire is respectful to you, and there are guards in the dark. And from the breath of this guard, you can see that he is not ordinary. Is this something that a civilian soul master can have? What is the background of my daughter's boyfriend? I have to find time to ask him carefully. Boy, you made me lose face in front of my ministers and the crown prince of the empire. I will make you live a life worse than death. After leaving, Fabius looked back and said fiercely. Just after he finished speaking, a figure appeared in front of him. Seeing this figure, Fabius suddenly widened his eyes and then trembled all over and said, Ling, Elder Ling Yuan. In addition to his own ability, the main reason why Fabius was able to seize the throne was that he secretly surrendered to the Spirit Hall. With the help of the power of the Spirit Hall, he succeeded in seizing the throne in front of many brothers. Naturally, he knew Ling Yuan, who had been active in the Xiandao Empire in recent years. However, when he saw the murderous intent exposed by the elder Ling Yuan in front of him, he didn't have time to shudder. Puppets have the consciousness of puppets. You dare to have evil thoughts about Sister Ruoxi. There is no need for you to live. Ling Yuan said coldly, and then threw the flame in his hand. In an instant, Fabius didn't even have time to scream, and his whole body was burned by the flames, and soon turned into ashes. Chapter 220 The Shocked Duke of Vienna. After dealing with Fabius, Ling Yuan returned to Wu Crossing again. It took only half a minute to go back and forth. But it shocked the Sisvina couple, especially when they heard from each other that Fabius was dead, which made them panic. They didn't hear any movement from the outside from beginning to end. How strong is this guard? It won't cause you any trouble. Wu Crossing looked at Kan Ringsu on the side and asked with a smile. When Kan Ringsu heard it, she didn't have time to roll her eyes at Wu Crossing. Now she asked herself why she didn't ask for her opinion when she ordered the elders of the Spirit Hall just now, which gave her a difficult problem. There will definitely be trouble, but I will deal with the end for the young master. Does the young master owe me a favor? Kan Ringsu smiled slightly. Okay, I will help you once, when the time comes. Wu Crossing nodded. Okay. Kan Ringsu smiled immediately. With the other party's words, there will be no obstacles to the grand plan of the Xiandao Empire. Because she believed in him very much, even if there were forces blocking her, she could easily deal with it with his joining. You know, Du Guyan is his woman, Ning Rangrang is also his woman. One is Du Gubo from Prince Zuxing's side, and the other is Ning Fengzi, the leader of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect. The biggest uncertainty factor is gone. If she still can't succeed in the plot, she doesn't deserve to be called Kan Ringsu. Although Ning Fengzi is her teacher and supports her, that is based on Zuking's identity. If he knew that she was Kan Ringsu, the other party would not necessarily bet the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect on her. But Wu Crossing's joining is different. Ning Fengzi will consider it no matter what. As for Du Gubo, he loves his granddaughter so much that, even if Prince Zuxing is his savior, he will never intervene, and at most guarantee her life safety. As long as he doesn't intervene, there is no need to worry about the avalanche. Anyway, Fabius had secretly defected to the Spirit Hall. If he died, he would die. The Spirit Hall would just support another puppet. Thinking this way, she had taken a huge advantage. Ling Yuan, who was standing next to Wu Crossing, heard the conversation between the two. She wanted to remind him that she could handle the matter by herself and didn't need to owe a favor to Kan Ringsu, the young master, but she finally held back. Although she was still an elder of the Spirit Hall, she had already put Wu Crossing first in her heart. If she had to choose one of the two, she would stand on Wu Crossing's side without hesitation. Because now she was not only Wu Crossing's protector, but also his woman. Bibi Dan could never have thought that she just asked the other party to protect Wu Crossing, but Ling Yuan stole the favor and gave her body and mind to that little black fan. If she knew it would be like this, she would never send Ling Yuan to protect the way and would send a man instead. Now she has lost both the wife and the army and lost a title Douluo Elder in vain. Okay, just give me a message when the time comes. Wu Crossing said. You're leaving now? Kan Ringsu was slightly stunned when she heard this. What else? Wu Crossing raised his eyebrows. Kan Ringsu was furious. She had finally found an opportunity to get close to him, but the guy in front of her didn't like her. as if he could see what Kan Rinxu was thinking. Wu Crossing smiled and said, when the crown prince treats me with sincerity, I will definitely have a long talk with you all night. Wu Crossing certainly didn't dislike Kan Rinxu, but he didn't like the other person dressed up like Xing. He could basically be said to be a man whose values were determined by his appearance. Even though he knew Kan Rinxu was a girl, Xing's appearance really didn't interest him at all. Kan Rinxu was so angry when she heard this. What did it mean to treat someone with sincerity and have a long talk all night? Was she a casual woman? Like those diary holders she was shamelessly approaching. Although she thought so, she was still very happy when the other person said such a thing, which showed that she was still very charming. Okay, your highness, I'll take my leave first. Wu Crossing said this, and then said goodbye to Su Shiwina and his wife and left. Su Ruoxi stayed. After all, she hadn't seen her parents for more than 3 years, and she always needed some time to accompany them. In addition, after what happened with Fabius, her parents must have a lot of questions to ask their daughter, and they couldn't let go if he was here. Anyway, she will be here for the time being, and I will find a time to pick her up again. Xiaoxi, what is the identity of your boyfriend? As Wu Crossing expected, after he and Kan Rinxu left, Su Shiwina reacted from the shock and couldn't help asking her daughter. He is a civilian soul master of the Xiandao Empire. Su Ruoxi answered calmly. Her husband is a time traveler, and her parents definitely don't understand this matter, and they can't tell her, so she just uses the usual wording. Commoner spirit master? Su Shiwina, who heard this again, was obviously a little unconvinced, and said, if he is just a commoner spirit master, how could his royal highness Xing, the crown prince of the Xiandao Empire, be so close to him? If he is just a commoner spirit master, how could he have guards in secret? There is also the most important point he did not say, that is, the other party actually let his guards attack the king of a kingdom. Is this the courage of a commoner spirit master? But out of rationality, he still held back, so as not to know too much, which would be bad for him and his daughter. Because of my husband's talent, all the major forces in the empire, big families, and even the royal family are vying to win him over. Su Ruoxi explained, but when she talked about her man's strength, her face showed admiration. Seeing his daughter's eyes like a little fangirl, Su Shiwina looked at his wife and then said, no matter how excellent a soul saint is, it is impossible for the prince of the Xiandao Empire to do this, right? Father, you don't understand. My husband's martial soul just awakened a year ago, and the soul ring on his body, do you know what it is? It's a million-year soul ring. Su Ruoxi curled her lips and said, just awakened the martial soul a year ago. The golden one is a million-year soul ring. After hearing his daughter's words, Su Shiwina took a breath and subconsciously covered his heart. This information was no less than a heavy bomb. If it was not handled properly, it might cause a heart attack. No wonder the prince of the Xiandao Empire was willing to take risks and deal with the aftermath for the other party so happily. With such an exaggerated talent, let alone the major forces of the Xiandao Empire, I'm afraid even the Wuhan Hall would try to win him over at all costs. What about the guard beside him? It seems that she is very familiar with you. What is her strength? Su Shiwina thought of Ling Yuan and asked again. That's Sister Ling Yuan, my husband's protector and his woman. Her strength is just average. She's just a titled Douluo. Su Ruoxi replied playfully. Su Shiwina and his wife couldn't hold back any longer. They fell to their knees with a plop. Su Ruoxi was shocked by their actions, and she hurriedly said, Father, Mother, what are you doing? Only daughters kneel to their parents, not parents to their daughters. Mother's legs are weak. Madame Ruolin, trembling, returned to the chair and sat down with the support of Su Ruoxi. Su Shiwina was the same. He seemed to have no strength in his body. When he sat on the chair, he picked up the teacup beside him tremblingly and drank it gurglingly. Chapter 221 The Second Mission. Time passed quickly, and the promotion match was over in a blink of an eye. In this round of competition, where no elimination was done, but only talent was discovered, Xiandao Royal Team 2 and Shrek Academy Team were undoubtedly the most eye-catching. The next was Xianshu Academy and Blazing Academy, but soon someone discovered something was wrong, because in the competition, it seemed that all the people who reached the Soul King level were women. However, as the information about the Empire's preliminaries came out later, it was learned that Shi and Ao Team 2 also had a male Soul King. Wu Crossing was a soy source live broadcast throughout the whole process, and did not participate in the promotion match, and a male evil soul master, Tang San, who was killed by the opponent, so the rumor was broken. With the end of the promotion match, the next step is to rest for half a month. All qualified teams will go to the Wuhan Hall to participate in the finals half a month later. Unknowingly, this month is also coming to an end, which has attracted Wu Crossing's second random task. Under the nervous gaze of the women and the expectations of many Zhangman diary holders, Wu Crossing decisively accepted the task after updating his diary. Ding, the task is being randomly generated. Ding, the task has been successfully released. Please go to the Swallowed Star world to join the elite training camp and win the first place in the Black Dragon ranking of the month. The time limit is 28 days. Transmission countdown 1 hour, 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Completion reward 8,000 points. Note, you cannot use martial spirits in this task. If you use martial spirits to gain points, it will be judged as a failure. Fuck. Seeing that this task is to travel through the Swallowed Star world, Wu Crossing subconsciously revealed a Chinese quintessence. Swallowed Star. This world is a high-level world, no less than the perfect world in the world of covering the sky. Seeing the reaction of their man, after receiving the task, the women in the room were all nervous and asked quickly, "Husband, which world is this mission going to?" Swallowed Star. Wu Crossing's mouth twitched and answered, "Swallowed Star world." Hearing that they were going to Swallowed Star to do the task, the women all widened their eyes. They had seen from their man's diary that the level of that world reached level 8, and Douluo was completely incomparable to it. That means it is very dangerous. "Hubby, why don't you just forget it and don't go?" Suruoxi said worriedly. "Yes, husband, don't go, give up." Suruoxi's words were agreed by all the women, even Ling Yuan was no exception. In such a dangerous world, their men might have safety problems if they went in. They didn't want Wu Crossing to be in danger, even if he had the resurrection technique. Looking at the worried eyes of the women, Wu Crossing was silent for a moment, and then said, "Hubby will not give up the mission, but don't worry, it's just going to Earth. It's not dangerous there. He is now a man with a family to support, and he has to earn points to support his family, so how can he give up easily? Besides, he has the resurrection technique, plus the cooling card, so he is not too worried about his own safety. What's more, the aunt, Venin Apollonus, is also a diary holder, which means that the plot of that world is still in its infancy at this time. With his current strength, it is enough. Don't compare the specific data in the novel. The author has only watched the anime, and has watched episode 110. I will indicate the approximate corresponding levels of the two worlds in the text. This is my personal opinion, please don't criticize me. After all, the task only says that you can't use your martial soul when you get points, not that he can still use his martial soul when he gets points. With his current strength, if we judge from the anime, the Soul Saint in the Douluo world is equivalent to the God of War, and he is probably around the middle of the planetary level. With the blessing of the special origin heart martial soul, he can be said to be invincible within the planetary level. From the anime, we can see that the attack methods of that world are not as rich as those in the Douluo world. Don't argue, devouring fans, this is a fact. Douluo's martial souls are all kinds of strange, accompanied by strange abilities. I watched the anime to level 110, and the battles in Devouring the Stars are relatively straightforward. Of course, if he doesn't use his martial soul, relying on his physical body alone, he is estimated to be a low-level God of War. That's why we see that the task reward points are more than the destruction of Xingsuan in the Linglan world. It's really not an easy thing for a low-level God of War to win the first place on the Black Dragon list. Wu Crossing even had some doubts whether the creator of the diary saw that he was idle and found something for him to do so that he could speed up his strength improvement and not give up. Otherwise, how could he come up with such a thing as not being able to use his martial soul? However, it is also possible that the creator of the diary saw that he had so many women and wanted to improve his physical fitness. But Seeing that their man insisted on going to the devouring star world to do the mission, the women wanted to persuade him. I have decided, you don't need to persuade me. I promise you that, if there is really danger, I will report it back, as soon as possible. Okay. Wu Crossing said helplessly. He also knew the women's worries, so he promised his women. Seeing that Wu Crossing decided to go, the women couldn't help but lower their heads. They also understood their men's thoughts, but even if they knew, they couldn't help but worry in their hearts. Husband, then you must put your own safety first. You must know that we are all here waiting for you. In the end, Yi Lingling spoke first. Well, I know. Wu Crossing nodded heavily. After making the decision, Wu Crossing spent some time with the girls, and then, under their gaze, he let the diary system start the transmission. Ding, transmitting, destination, devouring star world, synchronizing time, synchronization completed. Starting to generate a foothold. Foothold generated completed. Watching Wu Crossing disappear, the girls' faces were all worried. Seeing this, Ling Yuan couldn't help but comfort the girls. Don't worry, the little man cherishes his life so much and has so many ways to save his life, such as resurrection and teleportation. He won't be in danger. Besides, didn't the little man say that he was going to Earth, where there are no real strong people, so you can relax. Although she was also very worried about Wu Crossing's safety, she was the oldest among the girls and had to take the lead. Although Ara was older than her, she was not Wu Crossing's woman. But her words didn't have any effect, but made the girls more worried. They couldn't imagine a world of level 8. After all, Douluo Continent was only level 2. What if they encountered a top powerhouse in that world? Even if they had many ways to save their lives and their teleportation skills were amazing, what if they didn't have time to use them? After all, if a powerful person wanted to kill someone, it would be difficult for the other party to react. Just like a titled Douluo, if he wanted to kill a Soul King, he could do it without anyone noticing. As for the Earth, although there were no real strong people there, what if they happened to pass by? Who could tell for sure about such a thing? The diary holders in this world are all big horses. Well, I just want to ride them. Are there any readers who think the same as me? Chapter 222, The Advent of Swallowed Star. When the mechanical sound in his mind disappeared, Wu Crossing's consciousness recovered. What appeared in front of him was a modern city full of technology. There were tall buildings all around, the streets were full of traffic, the environment was very clean and tidy, and fighter planes flew across the sky from time to time. Unlike the linkage world, which was also attacked by monsters, this place looked peaceful. There will be two completely different situations. In addition to the humans who devoured the stars and opened up the practice of warriors, more of the monsters here are not like the linkage world. The devouring extreme beast over there has a terrifying ability, which is to resurrect by absorbing the life essence of humans. Even if the injury is serious, or even killed in one blow, it can be quickly repaired. Even if it encounters a nuclear bomb, it will not cause substantial damage. This is also the main reason why the linkage world will become the end of the world. After all, thermal weapons are the biggest trump card of mankind, and after the disaster broke out, thermal weapons have no effect. You can imagine how desperate it was at that time. Wu Crossing glanced around the surrounding buildings and landmarks, trying to determine where he was, but soon saw the iconic building across the street, letting him know where he was now. He is now in Hangning Base City, the global headquarters of the Extreme Martial Arts School. Wu Crossing was not surprised to see that he appeared directly in Hangning Base City, and that the elite training camp was across the street. He crossed the street and entered the spacious gate of the training camp. He saw the giant dragon sculpture in front of him at a glance, a giant black dragon that was nearly 50 meters high. I remember when I was watching the anime, the protagonist Luo Feng was scared by the eyes on the black dragon sculpture when he first came, which made Wu Crossing interested and looked up carefully. Perhaps because of his sufficient strength, he looked for a long time and did not notice anything unusual, so he retracted his gaze. This is not surprising. The black dragon is only a king level monster, equivalent to the planetary level, not to mention that it is dead, and it has no effect on Wu Crossing at all. When Wu Crossing stared at the black dragon's eyes, some of the training camp students who passed by paused slightly. The reason for this is mainly because they have never seen each other before, and they are not dressed like students in the training camp. If they are freshmen, they must be led by teachers when they first come, but he is alone. The most important point is that the other party stared at the black dragon's eyes, but there was no reaction at all. You know, even if a student who has been in training for a year or two can't look at the sculpture with such a calm expression. Hey, who are you? Do you know where this is? Are you able to come here? Just as Wu Crossing was about to go in, a voice sounded from behind him, with an unhappy tone. Wu Crossing turned around and saw a young man with slightly curly short golden hair walking towards him with a somewhat arrogant step. The moment he saw this person, he recognized who he was at first sight, William from the 5 major countries of Europe. In the anime, China is called Hansha, the European countries are collectively called Europe, and the United States is called Ameria. So I also followed the anime, because I'm writing anime fanfiction, and there are still slight differences from the original novel. Because he was very unhappy after losing to Luo Feng in the challenge room 2 days ago, and more importantly, he had not forced Luo Feng to find out whether he was a spiritualist, which made him lose face. Therefore, when he saw someone who seemed to be a freshman from Hansha again, he couldn't help but want to give him a show of strength. Hey, kid, I'm asking you a question. Seeing that Wu Crossing didn't answer and just stared at him, he was very unhappy. Wu Crossing still didn't answer the other party. At this time, he remembered that his time travel system only arranged the landing place and didn't give him the identity of aboriginals. Doesn't that mean that he is not only an illegal resident, but also has to find a way to join the training camp? Damn, it's a pitfall. An innocent diary creator, with her big watery eyes, looked at her father through the dimensional barrier image with a pitiful look. Wu Crossing didn't know that his unintentional words were the truth. Seeing Wu Crossing in a daze and completely ignoring him, William's face suddenly became unbearable, and then he stepped forward and grabbed the other party's collar. Wu Crossing's collar was grabbed, and then he reacted, frowned, and then grabbed the other party's hand and threw him to the ground with an over-the-shoulder throw. William had already attracted the attention of some students when he stepped forward to pick a fight. Now that Wu Crossing threw him to the ground with an over-the-shoulder throw, they all widened their eyes. William was not considered a strong man in the training camp, but his strength was not low. He was actually subdued by a man they had never seen before with an over-the-shoulder throw. How could they not be shocked? How could they not be surprised? Judging from Wu Crossing's age, he was obviously about the same age as them. He was probably a new student. How strong must a new student be to subdue William with one move? Asshole. William angrily turned over and stood up from the ground. In front of all the students, he was thrown to the ground by a suspected new student with one move. Although he was careless, he lost face. He was angry and was about to attack Wu Crossing, but at this time a voice came and stopped him abruptly. Stop, what are you doing? Don't you know that fighting is not allowed in the training camp? The man who came was a middle-aged man from Hansha country. Wu Crossing recognized him immediately. He was Yang Hui, the special commissioner who recruited new students for the elite training camp and the instructor of the elite training camp. Seeing that it was Yang Hui, William couldn't get angry, so he had to smile and said, "Instructor Yang, we were just greeting each other, and you misunderstood." Misunderstanding? Yang Hui sneered. How could he believe the other party's words? But now he was in no mood to pay attention to the other party, but looked at Wu Crossing and asked, "This little brother, are you a new student in the elite training?" He saw the fight just now. The other party threw William to the ground with a shoulder throw, and he was extremely shocked in his heart. No. Wu Crossing heard the question and said with some shame, "Not a new student who came to report to the elite training camp?" Yang Hui was stunned. He didn't expect that the other party was not a new student. "Yes." Wu Crossing answered again. "Then I wonder why you came to the training camp?" Yang Hui asked puzzledly. Wu Crossing thought for a moment and said, "I'm here to apply to join the elite training camp. PFFT, haha." Before Yang Hui could speak, William, who was standing by, heard Wu Crossing's answer and laughed as if he had heard some big joke. Not only him, but some students couldn't help laughing when they heard Wu Crossing's words. Even Yang Hui's face became strange after hearing Wu Crossing's words. Haha, I'm dying of laughter. Kit, who do you think you are? Can you apply to join the elite training camp just by applying? William laughed sarcastically. To join the elite training camp, you need to go through layers of screening, and the warriors who can come here are all geniuses from all over the world. Even the 9 major families in the world have difficulties in recommending someone to come in. The man in front of him actually said shamelessly that he wanted to apply to join the elite training camp. Just based on his words, it was not funny to die. For someone like William who came to his door and was slapped in the face by himself, Wu Crossing was still very happy to serve. What if I can join? Wu Crossing said with a smile. If you can get in, I, William, will eat shit upside down, using the words of your Hangsha country. William said with disdain. Okay, Mr. Yang, please be a witness. Wu Crossing said with a smile. What if you can't get in? Looking at Wu Crossing, who was confident, William's heart skipped a beat, but in order not to lose face, he still said it with a stiff upper lip. If I can't get in, you can make any request you want, Wu Crossing said confidently. After saying that, he opened the diary panel. As for asking him what he was doing, of course, he called someone. Chapter 223, Shaking People. Dear pen pals, I've kept you waiting for a long time. I have accepted the second mission, and am now in Hangning Base City in the Devouring Star world. I don't know if any of the Devouring Star pen pals are reading the diary copy. My mission is to join the elite training camp and win the first place in the Black Dragon ranking. As you know, I'm a time traveler and I'm an illegal immigrant in this world, so I need your help. Can you help me get an identity and recommend me to join the elite training camp? If possible, I will wait for you at the entrance of the training camp. As Wu Crossing's update came out, the diary holders in the Devouring Star world were shocked. The diary owner actually came to their world. In a super luxurious villa on the hillside of a base city in Hangsha country, a woman with an attractive figure and blonde hair and blue eyes was sitting on the sofa, flipping through a diary copy that outsiders could not see. She is the most important female supporting role in the Earth chapter of the Devouring Star world, Vinina Polinus. At this moment, her blue eyes were obviously a little melancholy. When she got the inventory of Wu Crossing, she immediately contacted her subordinates to bring Li Wei over, but she didn't expect that she was still a step too late. Her son actually died in the 003 war zone. This made her feel like she was struck by lightning, causing her to look a lot more depressed. Today, when she wanted to vent her emotions by drinking, she found the reminder of the diary copy update, so she took it out and saw the shocking content. The owner of the diary came to her world and is now in Hangning Base City. Seeing this content, she stood up from the sofa without hesitation and hurriedly walked outside and did not forget to contact her subordinates to send a plane immediately. Vinina, what are you doing? Looking at Vinina, who left in a hurry without even saying hello, Li Yao frowned and asked. Since a year ago, he found that there was something wrong with his wife. At first, he didn't think much about it, but as the other party's strength broke through, he gradually became suspicious. You know, the couple knew each other's talents. If nothing unexpected happened, the high-level war god would have been the end. But now his wife easily crossed over to become a being beyond the war god. How could he not think too much? Li Yao even suspected that his wife had cheated on him and secretly hooked up with a strong man from her family. Otherwise, how could she break through so easily and become a being beyond the war god? However, after half a year of secret investigation and tracking, no clues were found. How could Vinina, as a wife, not notice her husband's actions? Seeing that her husband investigated her and suspected that she had cheated, she was almost angry to death. Because of this, the relationship between the couple became somewhat unharmonious until the news of their son's death came, which directly caused the two to have a cold war. Please raise your hands if you support killing Li Yao and taking his aunt. I'm going to see someone. Vinina originally wanted to say that it was none of his business, but she held back in the end. Seeing his wife leave without looking back after replying, Li Yao's face darkened a bit, but when he thought about her rushing to meet someone, he didn't have time to think. Could it be? With a flash of thought, he immediately stood up and left the villa. On a fighter plane flying from Hanning City to Jingdu Base City, a beautiful mixed-race woman with a charming figure stood up from her seat immediately after seeing the contents of the diary copy in her hand. She was Yoreo, one of the 3 personal guards of the Extreme Martial Arts Hall. What's wrong? Seeing Yoreo stand up, Bingshan, who is also one of the 3 personal guards, looked over curiously. You go and deal with the things in Jingdu Base City. I'll go back to Hanning Base City. After Yoreo finished speaking in a cold voice, without waiting for Bingshan to answer, she opened the cabin door and jumped down, flying quickly towards Hanning Base City. Seeing Yoreo suddenly leave, Bingshan was completely confused. It was the first time he saw the other party so anxious. At the same time, in a suburb outside Hanning Base City, there was another tall woman with a fair face and fascinating pupils. Seeing the content on the diary, the monsters stopped swiping and rushed back to the direction of Hanning Base City. This mixed blood beauty was Janet from the elite training camp and the youngest female air student in Europe. In addition, when Wood Crossing just shook the person, a figure flying rapidly appeared in the sky not far from Hanning Base City, with a sonic boom wherever it passed, and a strong heat wave was emitted around it. Although this woman was not very beautiful, and even had some freckles on her face, she was full of exotic charm, especially the white braids, combed from her short white hair, and the iron fists on her hands, made her look particularly cool. She was Elder Far, one of the European parliamentarians, whose strength had long surpassed the air's level. At the entrance of the elite training camp, Wood Crossing, who opened the diary panel and shook the person, began to wait quietly. Yang Hui saw Wood Crossing standing aside without saying anything, after making a bet with William, and he was also ashamed. Considering that they were both from Hangsha, he sighed and said, Wood Crossing, you are too impulsive. You shouldn't have made a bet with William. As a special commissioner, he was responsible for recruiting the top talented warriors from all over the country, but he would only recruit dozens of them every year. Even people from big families and big forces could not do it through backdoor methods. Even those families and those forces offered attractive conditions of hundreds of billions just for one place. It is conceivable how difficult it is to join the elite training camp. And Wood Crossing had not been screened by the formal process of the Extreme Martial Arts Hall. How could the elite training camp recruit him? Wood Crossing smiled slightly at Yang Hui's sigh and did not explain anything. William, who was standing aside, was originally worried that the Hangsha man in front of him was so confident that he might really have a way to join the training camp, but after waiting for a long time, he did not see the other party contact anyone, and no admissions tutor appeared, and his heart was immediately relaxed. After relaxing, he couldn't help but sarcastically said, Hey, kid, you don't want to stand at the door of the training camp to avoid the bet, do you? Why are you in such a hurry? Are you thinking about eating shit? Wood Crossing shot back, then raised his head and looked at the sky in the distance, saying, Isn't she coming? Huh. Hearing Wood Crossing's words and seeing the other party looking up at the sky, Yang Hui and William were shocked and looked in the direction of the other party's gaze. In the clear blue sky, a flying figure appeared, flying quickly towards this position. The speed was very fast. From the first black spot, in less than a moment, the figure landed heavily on the ground with a bang. As the figure landed, it also brought a terrifying wave of air, sweeping around. Why is it her? Seeing the person clearly, Wood Crossing was not surprised, and it was a little different from the first diary holder he thought. But Yang Hui and William beside him widened their eyes after seeing who this person was. William even said with a trembling face, Far. Elder Fal. Far. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224. Why are they all foreign girls? For those fans who haven't read Devouring the Star, the levels of Devouring the Star are Apprentice, Planetary, Stellar, Cosmic, Domain Lord, Realm Lord, Immortal. Each level is divided into level 1 to level 9. There are higher levels later in the novel, but the anime is only here for now. The God of War level is what humans on Earth call it. It is divided into Warrior, General, and God of War. Each level is divided into elementary, intermediate, and advanced levels. The advanced god of war corresponds to the 9th level of apprentice. Surpassing the god of war is actually the planetary level. For a better understanding, the author objectively corresponds to the levels of Douluo and devouring. Soul Saint God of War, Soul Douluo planetary level 1 to 3, title Douluo level 4 to 6. But in the same situation, Douluo is slightly better, mainly because it is more diverse and has more skills. Wood Crossing is a hexagonal warrior. He can also use any object that has appeared in the anime other than Douluo to present it in the form of martial soul. Therefore, although he is a soul saint, he can reach the 9th level of the planetary level in his prime. The arrival of Fair made all the elite students take a few steps back in shock. Although they didn't know who the woman in front of them was, they could feel that she was at least at the level of a god of war just from the heat waves bursting out from her body. "Why are you here, Lord Fair?" William came to his senses and immediately stepped forward to ask flatteringly, changing his previous arrogance. As a European, he naturally knew that the woman in front of him was the strongest female warrior in Europe and a member of the parliament. Her strength and status were high, and he had to look up to her. Yang Hui also recognized the woman in front of him as a member of the Palace of the God of War, the strongest organization of human warriors. All the gods of war on earth, and those who surpassed the gods of war, are members of the Palace of the God of War. Of course he knew the other party's identity. It was precisely because of this that he was extremely shocked. The woman in front of him was not the god of war in the eyes of those students, but a strong person who surpassed the god of war. "Elder Fair, what do you want to do in the training camp?" Yang Hui asked respectfully. However, Fair ignored William and Yang Hui's words. She swept her sharp eyes. The moment she saw Wood Crossing, she stepped forward quickly and then bowed deeply to Wood Crossing in the stunned eyes of everyone. "Sir Wood Crossing, Fair is honored to meet you." Fair came to Wood Crossing, put one hand in front of him, one hand behind his back, and bent down close to his body. His tone was full of respect and respect. Fair's behavior directly made William, Yang Hui and the students who were watching dumbfounded. They all fell into a stagnation. Who is the boy in front of him? What kind of powerful background does he have that makes a woman who is suspected to be a high-level god of war so respectful to him? Of course, the most shocked are William and Yang Hui, especially William. His mind is blank now, and he looks like, who am I, and where am I? Senator Fair, an existence beyond the god of war, the strongest female warrior in the whole of Europe, and a member of the parliament, has such a high status, but now he is respectful to the man he just looked down on. The most important thing is that the other party is a Hangsha person. How can he believe it and accept it? Today is April Fool's Day. Yes, it must be April Fool's Day. William kept muttering to himself. He couldn't believe it at all, and he didn't want to believe it. Although Yang Hui didn't find it as difficult to accept as William, he was also very shocked. How did this Hangsha compatriot named Wood Crossing make Far treat him so respectfully? A woman as powerful and high-ranking as Far, even the first force in Hangsha can't do this, right? Could it be that this guy is? Yang Hui thought of a possibility. Only in that way can it explain that Far, who surpassed the god of war, treated him like this. Although this possibility is also ridiculous, it is more convincing. That is, Far was conquered by Wood Crossing. As for what kind of conquest, do you still need to think about it? Far is an existence beyond the god of war. From the steady breath of Far and the shoulder throw he just used, Wood Crossing estimated that he was just a general. Where else can he conquer, except on the bed? Thinking of this, Yang Hui looked at Wood Crossing with deep admiration. Good boy, he called him good boy. He really won glory for Hangsha. He could tame a foreign girl who surpassed the god of war. He was willing to be the first person in Hangsha. However, seeing Wood Crossing's handsome appearance, outstanding looks, and gentlemanly temperament, it seemed understandable that Fair was obsessed with him. Wood Crossing didn't know what Yang Hui was thinking, nor did he know that he was mistaken for Fair's man by the other party, but when he noticed the other party's careful eyes looking at him, he instantly felt a chill all over his body. Does this guy have any special hobbies? Fair didn't know. Yang Hui thought she was Wood Crossing's woman. Even if he knew, he wouldn't say much. if she could be favored by the owner of the diary, let alone being tamed by the other party, even if she was wearing a collar and treated as some kind of female, playing, key point, draw a question mark, to be tested, she would be very happy to cooperate. In the previous life, foreign girls were generally more open to sex and more relaxed, so even in this world, it was no exception. Among the crowd of onlookers, there was a man who looked at the scene in front of him with a look of shock on his face. This man was the protagonist of Swallowing the Stars, Luo Feng. Originally, he would not appear here, but just now, Fowl did not hide his presence at all. As a spiritualist, he was the first to discover the situation at the entrance of the training camp. He thought something had happened, so he immediately put down his work and rushed over. Then he happened to see this scene that shocked him greatly. And this matter is far from over. While everyone was shocked and thinking about Wu Crossing's identity, another figure in the sky approached here rapidly. When Luo Feng saw this figure, his pupils shrank. The person who came was actually Vanina, the younger sister of the patriarch of the Balinese family, one of the 9 major families in the Our Alliance, and also the mother of Li Wei, offered a reward of 100 billion to find the woman who killed her son. What is this woman doing here? Has she found evidence that I did it and come here to seek revenge? Just when Luo Feng was facing a great enemy and wondering how he should deal with it, Vanina's next move almost made him drop his jaw. Vanina, who had fallen down, did not even look at him, but walked straight to Wu Crossing and once again bowed to Wu Crossing in front of everyone's dumbfounded eyes, with an extremely respectful tone, even more than fair. Vanina Balinese, meet Mr. Wu Crossing. Thump. William looked at this scene, his legs softened, he could no longer stand, and knelt on the ground. This world is too dangerous, he wants to go back to find his mother. What kind of guy did he provoke? Elder Fair didn't say anything. Now Vanina from the Balinese family, who is also Candace's aunt, has come, and she is also so respectful. However, what made him even more desperate was still to come. Just as Vanina arrived and greeted Wu Crossing, a speeding motorcycle roared and stopped in front of him. The woman on the motorcycle had long legs that were particularly attractive. After stopping in front of them, she gently took off her helmet and shook her flowing golden hair. Everyone saw who the woman in front of them was. Wasn't she Janet, the most outstanding female student in the elite training camp? Since a year ago, she has emerged as a new force, occupying the first place in the Black Dragon rankings for many years. With her beautiful appearance, she has captured the hearts of all the male students. Wu Crossing, you are finally here. Janet got off the motorcycle, stepped on the steps of long high heels, and walked towards Wu Crossing quickly. Then, in the eyes of everyone who was dumbfounded again, she took the other's arm very familiarly. After finally coming back to their senses, the heartbreaking sounds of the male students rang out, and they were all broken to the ground. I thought it was over, but the sky told the sonic boom under the flight, and in the blink of an eye, the enchanting figure also fell heavily to the ground. Looking at the women who appeared in front of him one by one, Wu Crossing's heart was exposed. Damn, why are all the diary holders here foreigners? Chapter 225, surrounded by foreign girls. At this time, Wu Crossing seriously suspected the bad taste of the creator of the diary, and was more certain that the other party wanted to exercise his physical fitness. Otherwise, how could so many foreign girls come out? As for the big foreign horses, Wu Crossing had wanted to ride them in his previous life, but they were too ordinary, and could not bring glory to the motherland and tame them for the readers. But now that he has the opportunity, he will definitely not let it go, and none of them can escape. Elder Yoreo. Seeing Yoreo coming, Yang Hui was even more shocked, and hurriedly stepped forward to greet him. Yoreo nodded, and then said to the other party, Your Excellency Wu Crossing is a distinguished guest of our Extreme Martial Arts Hall. The door of the elite training camp is always open to him, and you must treat him with the highest standards. But Elder Yoreo, all the places for the elite training camp this year have been issued. Yang Hui was moved again when he heard it. He didn't expect that even Elder Yoreo would speak personally, and he was also so respectful. It doesn't matter, I will tell the owner of the hall personally about this matter. Yoreo replied calmly. Since Elder Yoreo said so, Yang Hui will do it. Hearing that Elder Yoreo would report to the owner of the gym in person, Yang Hui naturally would not object. But he was even more curious about Wu crossing in front of him. What kind of terrifying identity could make Fal, Vinina, and even Elder Yoreo come to receive him in person? Why haven't I heard of such an existence before? Seeing Yoreo let the diary owner join the training camp with just one sentence, Fal and Vinina next to them frowned. But they were powerless. Although both of them could mobilize some resources to let Wu crossing join the training camp to complete the task, it would take some time to do it, which was far inferior to Yoreo, who was one of the 3 personal guards of the Extreme Martial Arts Hall. They didn't expect that such a big favor would be taken by the other party who arrived last, so of course they were unhappy. What's more, the forces behind the 2 sides were already in a competitive relationship. After finishing her conversation with Yang Hui, Yoreo turned around and looked at Wu crossing and said, "Sir Wu crossing, please follow me. Yoreo will personally handle the training camp procedures for you. Then I'll trouble you, my pen pal Yoreo." Wu crossing nodded with a smile, then looked at William, whose legs were shaking, and said with a smile, "Remember to complete the bet you just mentioned." Bet. After hearing Wu crossing's words, Fal and Vinina both looked at William. They were a little upset because Yoreo had gotten ahead of them. Now that they saw that the owner of the diary seemed to have made a bet with William, they asked in a deep voice, "William, what's going on?" Plop. William, who had finally stood up not long ago, looked at the sharp eyes of Lord Fal and Vinina and was instantly frightened to kneel on the ground. "William, did you offend Wu crossing?" Seeing William's appearance, Janet also questioned. I, Lord Wu crossing, I was wrong just now. Please forgive me. Please forgive me." William opened his mouth, and then he didn't care about his face anymore, and kowtowed repeatedly. He had to do this. Who would have thought that the origin of the Hangsha man in front of him was so terrifying that Fal and Vinina treated him so respectfully? If he couldn't get the other party's forgiveness, he might not see the sun tomorrow. "Let you go, then the bet will be changed to 5 billion euros. Remember to give it to me tomorrow. It's not realistic to eat shit upside down. Anyway, there are many places in this world that need to spend money. In addition, his mission will be to stay in the devouring star world for a while, and he can't let these pen pals pay for it normally. Yes, Lord Wu crossing, I will give you 5 billion tomorrow." Hearing Wu crossing's words, William was overjoyed. Although 5 billion euros was a huge sum of money for him, he could still get it together with gritted teeth. When Vinina heard Wu crossing's words, she immediately stepped forward and said, "Mr. Wu crossing, if you need money, just tell Vinina. Anything within 100 billion Hangsha coins can be mobilized immediately. As the president of the Chinese region of the Our Alliance, nothing is too much for her except money. 100 billion Hangsha coins. It can be mobilized immediately." Vanina's words almost made Luo Feng stumble and fall to the ground. As expected of a woman from the Balinus family, 100 billion Hangsha coins came out of her mouth. When he heard that the other party offered a reward of 100 billion Hangsha coins to him, he was tempted to sell himself. Now the reward has increased tenfold, just to please the man in front of him. How exaggerated is his background? Wu crossing also understood Vinina's flattery, but shook his head and said, "Miss Vinina, I appreciate your kindness. If I need it, I will ask you." Seeing that she was rejected, Vinina did not force it. The reason why she was so proactive was that she wanted the other party to help her resurrect her son. "By the way, Mr. Wu crossing, I have already processed your identity for you." Although the issue of funds was rejected, Vinina took out a crystal clear card from her pocket and handed it to Wu crossing. On the way here, she got Wu crossing's ID card through her family, which was European Chinese information. "Thank you." Wu crossing took the ID card and thanked him. Vinina smiled and said, "It is Vinina's honor to work for you." Seeing that Vinina had already been involved with the owner of the diary, Falton was a little discouraged. She had the strength, but could not provide help to the other party. As for Janet, she didn't think too much. Wu crossing joined the elite training camp, so he must have been here all this time. With his figure and appearance, is he afraid that he can't take the other party? Everyone followed Wu crossing and Yoreo into the center of the training camp with their own thoughts. Looking at a Hangsha man surrounded by several foreign girls, and each of them was a top beauty with an impressive figure, a group of students showed envy. However, Some people soon noticed that these women seemed to be important figures, so they retracted their gazes and became curious about Wu Crossing's identity. Of course, there were also many men who felt jealous when they saw how attentive Goddess Janet was to the man. Accompanied by your AO, it was easy to apply for information to join the elite training camp, and the registration was completed in less than 5 minutes. Don't you need to take the assessment? Wu Crossing looked at the elite training camp card in his hand and asked in confusion. Your AO couldn't help but smile when she heard it and said, Sir Wu Crossing, you are joking. With your strength, why do you need to take the assessment like those students? Many students felt offended. Wu Crossing was stunned. It felt good to go through the back door. Not only did he get a green light all the way, but he didn't even need to take the assessment. He finally realized the treatment of the internal quota in his previous life. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.